I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage Chapter 1. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Naruto author, Digital Old Demon. Introduction. When Naruto was young, he could see several big faces on Hokage Rock directly when he opened his eyes every morning. The window of Uchiha Shinchuan's house will first see the police department building. As for Hokage Rock, only a silhouette can be seen. I dare not think about it, but it should also try to climb to a higher position to see the scenery. P.S. In terms of the original plot and settings, all the comics are used, excluding Boron biography, Itachi True biography, TV and theatrical versions, mainly because there is only one set of comics at hand. Volume 1. Chapter 1 may be coming soon. The main urban area of Konohane Village is built along the mountains to the east, spread out in a 130-degree fan shape with the Hokage Rock as the axis, and is divided into three areas: south, north and west. The ninja school, hospital and Hokage building are all located under the Hokage Rock. The police department is located in a commercial street in the southern district, which is far from the Hokage Rock, but it is convenient for handover of people and prisoners with the prison in the southern mountainous area. When Naruto was young, he could see several big faces on Hokage Rock directly when he opened his eyes every morning. The window of Uchiha Shinchuan's house will first see the police department building. As for Hokage Rock, only a silhouette can be seen. A good day starts with embracing the first rays of sunshine in the morning. Uchiha Shingen, who was awakened by the sun, likes the sun from the bottom of his heart. As a person who is catching this world. No, it is a person who has traveled through it twice in a row. You must have a stable mind, and you can't make a fuss at every turn. The last time I crossed, I saw the patriarch who grew into the of ninja beat his friends to the point of exhaustion. After a few years, he participated in the meat grinder called Ninja World War under the order of the new patriarch. One of the pieces of minced meat. This time may be shorter, because yesterday's events made him feel that this session is coming soon. Yesterday, Naruto changed his name, and his name is Namikaze Minato. Turning over from the bed, first took a shower, and after washing and tidying up the room, Uchiha Shingen put on the standard uniform of the police force and left home for work. No one at home, both parents, are all opening stores. Anyway, the knowledge accumulated last time has not been lost. At the age of 10, he opened his eyes and reached above the average level in the clan. He was also called a genius. Now he is 17 years old and has steadily risen to Sengoku. It can't be compared to hanging on the wall, but it's still a good deal. After all, the 3 wars are over, and everyone is still human. I dare not think about it, but it should also try to climb to a higher position to see the scenery. Otherwise, in the future, the filial son will only be able to hang his hair on the telephone pole. Walking in the clan, the scenery on the roadside is the same, the housing style of the Uchiha clan is quite uniform, and the clansmen who have become ninjas even have uniform clothes, showing that this family adheres to the traditional side. After leaving the family land and walking through the commercial street, Uchiha Shingen arrived at the entrance of the police department, and his eyes first fell on the most conspicuous sign on the building. The conspicuous shuriken emblem center on the building is the more conspicuous Uchiha clan emblem, which symbolizes that Uchiha and Konoha's police department, one of the 6 divisions, are one, and it is also the limit of the Uchiha family's power in Konoha. Just as he was about to enter the gate of the police department, he saw a member of the police force escorting someone out. The expression was slightly serious. "Brother Shinchuan, is it your turn to be on the morning shift today?" Seeing Uchiha Shinchuan, Jun's expression became less serious. "Brother Huangmen." Uchiha Shinchuan nodded at the other party and walked in. Really nodding. More importantly, money will be deducted for being late. The salary of the police force is not low, and the deduction is also harsh. Of course, there is usually a lot of oil and water. The Uchihas of the police department are making money from top to bottom, and they are justifiably making money. To make money for cultivation, don't be shabby. In Naruto, there must be 6 bloodlines to take the high-end route. Today, only Uchiha has the purest bloodline and is still working as a ninja. Indra and Azura embody their powers inherited from the 6 paths immortals in the ultimate Yin-dun and Yang-dun ways, respectively. But this does not mean that Indra does not have the power of a fairy body at all. They are all six-path cubs, and they have everything they should have, but the proportions are different. It is natural to focus on their own strengths. So are future generations. With 1,000 hands, Uchiha can also practice. Although the efficiency is completely incomparable to the concentration practice of Sharingan, only Uchiha Shinchuan knows the beauty of it. If he still had doubts, after a round of training on the battlefield, he was convinced of this route. Go to the reported place to check in and get a patrol mission. Today's task is to inspect several streets in the West District. The workload is not large and there is no need to form a team. The West area is the farthest from Hokage Rock, and is cut by forests, rivers, and lakes. The population here is mainly engaged in agriculture, and the business is mainly small-scale self-employed. Although the location is remote and the business is not developed, the dynamic social organization has grown stronger. The Uchihas of the police department are not unprincipled when they make money and return money. Once there is a public security incident, it is useless to send more money. If one is taken away, the one who should be detained will be imprisoned. Uchiha Shingen, who was constantly jumping and moving on the roof, gradually approached the west area. Compared with the regular south and north areas, the west area is winding and undulating from a high altitude. The part connecting the south and north areas is an inverted triangle. When it extends to the middle, the building begins to be sandwiched by the large fields and forests on both sides. In the middle, it is extremely dense, but it is squeezed out of a big bend by the large lake in the middle. After passing through this long and narrow part, the area is spread out again to connect with the city wall area of the West Gate. Inspecting this place is not a good job. The streets here are complicated and the sanitation environment is relatively poor. Today, Uchiha Shingen inspected the section near the lake. After entering his inspection area, Uchiha Shingen fell into the street. He has to stay here for 3 hours, and then his colleagues come to change shifts and he can go back and register the task is completed. During this period of time, Uchiha Shingen's job was to ensure that his figure could be seen by people on the street, to show that the order here was maintained by the police department. Even if it is the land of luck in the Naruto world, where the blood aura is concentrated, as the largest autonomous city-state and free trade zone in the land of fire, Konoha Hidden Village will inevitably have various dark sides of society, but it is a military base and its governance is simple. Uchiha Shingen first went into the nearby shop to grab a bowl of ramen, and then started to inspect. An hour passed quickly, and he bought another popsicle because he was bored. The healthy and positive atmosphere around him, with occasional sneaky glances, will quickly disappear into a dark alley. But there is no darkness in Konoha during the day. If there is, the police department will let him not. After the second hour passed, Uchiha Shingen bought a bunch of candied haws. It looks laid back, but it's actually quite laid back. The so-called inspections mainly target not ordinary people. After eating the last candied fruit, Uchiha wiped his mouth and continued shopping. Near the last half hour, I finally found something to do, and caught a pickpocket and escorted it away with a shadow clone. The last half hour was calm, and when the time was up, he left a shadow clone to wait for the handover, and he made a smooth return journey. Chapter 2 turned out to be friendly forces. Back at the police department, Uchiha Shingen went to the office to register first, and watched the clansman who was in charge of the registration put a tick in his task record, very satisfied and ready to go home. Brother Shinchuan. The voice behind made Uchiha Shingen stop. Looking back, it was a familiar face, and he smiled. Taihua, long time no see. This time, it's not a nodding acquaintance, but a good buddy who has been on the battlefield together. Long time no see for what? Are you not going out? The visitor looked at Uchiha Shingen angrily. Why didn't the clan a few days ago go to participate? It's not necessary, I'll obey the arrangement anyway. Uchiha Shingen's attitude was indifferent. The clan meeting is the same thing as the unit meeting in the previous life. It is all communication before the meeting, and the decision is made at the meeting. Uchiha is a little more upright, but generally the same. It's not a matter of obeying the arrangement. Uchiha Taihua felt a headache for his brother. This guy is a few years older than himself, and his personality is not Uchiha at all. Brother, can you be a little more irritable? The group of real old ninjas in the clan were not so peaceful. Instead, they became more and more energetic as they got older. Every time they had a meeting, these people were the most energetic. It's only this that matters, internal unity is the most important. Uchiha Shingen said. What if it's wrong? Uchiha Tiehua clearly disagreed. There is no right or wrong in this world. Uchiha Shingen looked at him with a strange look, what the strong does is right. This is his real thought, and he is also quite sure that what Uchiha Tiehua understands is definitely not the same as his. You can tell by looking at the expression. Singing flower songs can't sing this expression. I understand what you're thinking. Uchiha Tiehua looked relieved, everyone has a party tonight, I can't help but come this time. The situation of the family is not good. I need to practice more before I can contribute to the family. Uchiha Shinchuan refused with a stern face, I am a serious person, and I will not go to messy places. Uchiha Tiehua was angry, it's really troublesome, I'll call you a few more head offices. Which venue is tonight? Uchiha Shingen felt very embarrassed, how could he refuse the friendship between Tiehua and him, although I don't understand, but the family's education for me does not allow me to eat free food, let's share it. Uchiha Tiehua rolled his eyes, reported the name of the venue, and left. Uchiha Shinchuan turned around, and the clansman who had registered him before had a strange look at the moment. It alerted him. Any questions? The meal your friend ordered is really good. It just arrived at the new tea a few days ago. The middle-aged clansman replied with an envious tone, the only bad thing is that it is too expensive. Sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about at all. If I have nothing to do, I'll go back and practice. Uchiha Shingen immediately cast a teleportation technique and ran away. Hey! The middle-aged clansman looked at the air in front of him with a confused expression, are all young people working so hard now? After thinking about it, he couldn't help but sigh. In this war, a group of outstanding young people emerged in Uchiha, and Uchiha Shingen, who had just left, was one of them, but the middle-aged people did not expect that this young man would still work so hard. As expected of a famous cultivator in the clan. Sure enough, success is never a fluke. Uchiha's future depends on such young people. When he thought so, Uchiha Shingen had already returned home. I was supposed to eat in a cafeteria of the ministry, but there was obviously no way to stay there. The Iron Fire guy, how can such a secret thing be said in such a non-secret way? Young and inexperienced. Walking into the kitchen, he skillfully cooked a whole egg fried rice and ate it, and then went to the training ground in the clan to start training. Uchiha's training ground is very large. After all, there is a lot of land, and it is not just a flat ground to set up a few targets. It is more similar to the gymnasium on the Blue Star. There are both outdoor venues and indoor venues. There are many targeted facilities, such as a training room specially used to exercise Shuriken. The old rule is to practice Shuriken and Taijutsu first, then practice the riding will-I, and finally the escape technique. Maybe because of the second where, in addition to Uchiha's natural fire nature, he also has the two properties of water and wind when he wears it. He has been catching these three crazy drills all the time. The day after tomorrow, he will work hard to make new changes in nature, but he has not thought about it for the time being. One is that it is enough, and the other is that there is no extra time. The ninja culture of Naruto world lies in the word fast. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage Chapter 2. Do everything fast. Otherwise, it will die quickly, so efficiency is the first, and if there is not enough cost-effectiveness, it will not invest time. Uchiha Shinchuan's practice of Yongdun is well known in Uchiha, but most people are non-committal about it, and no one cares which style of Yongdun he is practicing. The Uchiha clan, who has a long tradition, did not know that they and Senjisho's ancestors were all immortals of the Six Paths. They were also clear about how powerful Yongduan's buffs were, but if they knew it, it was another matter to practice. Compared with the nature of the five elements, the cultivation of yin and yang is not only much less efficient, but also more talented. Uchiha, who has a plugin called Shuriken, has too little time just to play Shuriken. It is really difficult for Yongdun to return enthusiasm. And the long history of the Warring States period also convinced them that Yongdun, whose practice efficiency was slower than Ine done, was harmful to Uchiha. The entire Uchiha clan, Uchiha Shinchuan, would rather sacrifice the time to practice the riding wheel, but also practice Yongdun. After the last escape, Uchiha Shinjen went home to take a shower, put on his casual clothes and went out for an appointment. My feet are a bit sore, but it doesn't prevent jumping from the building. Oh no, it's a shortcut. The place for the appointment is near Hokage Rock, which is the best izakaya in Konoha. At a relatively close distance, Uchiha Shinjen has jumped back to the street and walked forward. In the distance, I can already see the iron fire at the door of the izakaya. Next to them are familiar people, Uchiha Rice Fire and Uchiha Yatsushiro. These three people are not inseparable, but it is true that they have gathered together for 3 days to make flowers, which is very informal. There is another person, but Uchiha Shinjen did not expect it. Uchiha's medicinal flavor, Uchiha Fuyue's right and left hand is very reliant. The patriarch's reputation in the family is moderate and his personal prestige is there, but both doves and hawks think he can be one. In other words, an old fritters. People who can be relied on by old fried dough sticks will not have a light taste. Even a so-called hawk. Uchiha Shinchuan reluctantly accelerated his pace and walked towards Uchiha Yaowei who was smiling at him. With Taihua, they can be casual, but they are not good at the taste of medicine. There is too much difference in seniority. So, today's game, is it vegetarian? Just sit down and go home. Anyway, his personality is that he is addicted to cultivation and cannot extricate himself. Mr. Yaowei. Don't be restrained. Uchiha Yaowei showed an expression he had never seen in the office. Now is the time to relax. Good guy. It's a gang. Chapter 3 is faster this way. As soon as Uchiha Shinjen's group walked into the izakaya, they got the idea of the people in the store. At first glance, this is Uncle Sei and the elders who came out with the younger generation to open meet. But it was only at first glance, seeing the fan pattern on the back of these people's clothes, even if they drank too much, no one was joking. It's not because it's Uchiha, but everyone who lives in Konoha knows that those who wear these clothes must be ninjas from the police department. In today's Konoha village, the villagers' perception of Uchiha is the police department and ninjas, no more. Although it is not completely free of negative reviews, they are all enforced by the police department, and these people are not the mainstream. After all, as long as your IQ is online, you know that serious people actually have little chance of being enforced by law, and the serious people in Konoha village make up the absolute majority. It was not until the Nine Tails ran away, many families died, and it was rumored that Uchiha did it, that Uchiha's reputation in the village was directly broken and stinky. Take the owner of this izakaya as an example. When he sees these Uchihas, he has only one thought: oh. Fat sheep. No, the father of the gold master is here. As we all know, ninjas make a lot of money, and they spend even more money. Especially those who have been ninjas from generation to generation, have the goodwill of the family, and have a stronger ability to make money. Even if the money is not enough, the family will make up the difference. So the owner of the izakaya had a cracked smile on his face. He went to the first floor to welcome customers not because there were few people in his shop, but on the contrary. He runs a big venue. His name is an izakaya, but in fact, it can be called a restaurant. The operating costs are very high, and the appearance fee of so many girls alone is incredible, so the majority of revenue has to be rewarded by local tyrants. Of course, if you come to the local tyrants, you must receive them in person. What he likes most is the consumption of ninjas like Uchiha. Not only because he spends generously, but also because Uchiha is in charge of the police department. In a place like him, as long as he usually serves well and has a reputation, the management fee that the police department needs is a guaranteed level, and the more you earn. Many homes do not raise prices. The ninjas from this ninja clan are not only local tyrants, but also have good personalities. It would be great if all the institutions in Konoha were run by the ninja. It's not like the people in the administration department. Even if they are ninjas, they must not miss one when they eat and get cards, and they also need to prostitute for free. He sincerely wished that they would never be able to hide their private money. He happily greeted Uchiha Yaowei who took the lead. Oh, isn't this Mr. Yaowei? You haven't been here for a long time, and the girls are all complaining about me. The eyes of several Uchiha young people are a little less friendly. The last time Yashiro was away, when the few of them came, the boss didn't say that. What he was saying was that the girls actually only liked the young and handsome like them. Forget it, let's look at the quality of the tea first. If the quality is better than last time, I don't care. After all, this person can't watch what he says, but what he does. Several people followed the smell of medicine and went upstairs amid the boss's praise all the way. I chose a large box, a few people sat down, the boss ran out the door like a wind, and it didn't take long to reopen the door. A row of girls filed in behind them, smiling like flowers, standing in a row in front of several people, all bowed, and said softly, "Good evening, guest. Come on, girls, don't stand still and introduce yourself." The boss first showed a flattering smile to a few Uchiha masters, and then clapped his hands to the girls. The girls also showed their different mental outlooks such as shyness and liveliness just right one by one, and began to introduce themselves one by one, including age, place of origin and so on. Anyway, when Uchiha Shingen came to this kind of place for the first time, he felt that the sense of sight was strong. He glanced at the medicine smell next to him, and found that the uncle's gaze was very precise, but it was a little bad. Obvious inexperience. It seems that he misunderstood before. Uchiha Yaoi is not a man who often hangs around in casinos. Feeling Uchiha Shinchuan's gaze, Uchiha Yaoi turned his head. "Oh. Shinchuan seems to be very interested, so you will help everyone choose people." This obviously inexperienced but had to pretend to be an old driver in front of the younger generation, really, so sad. They are all here, and Uchiha Shingen understands him. "Good medicinal herbs, please leave it to me. Come out and play, just have fun. Especially not to make the elders feel embarrassed." He turned his head. Serious expression. The eyes are sharp. Open the writing wheel. Ignoring the stiff expressions of the girls, Uchiha Shingen read them carefully one by one. In front of these eyes, no one should try to conceal a false figure and age by any means. After reading it, he retracted the writing wheel, and Uchiha Shingen pointed at 4 people from left to right with his fingers, and then waved his hand. "Leave these 4 first, and replace the next batch." "Understood, I understand." The boss, who was covered in cold sweat by Sharon Yen, wiped his forehead, and said tremblingly, "I understand, old rules, there are 2 more batches, you can take your time." When it was over, he sincerely added, "The best is here, don't lie." "I don't want you to think, I want me to think." Uchiha Shingen gave him a sideways look, "Is it you drinking or me? Let's make 3 batches first." This boss is good everywhere, but he is a little long-winded. Last time, it was because the boss made his own decisions that he almost missed a good tea. Can this person have exactly the same taste as a person? Okay. Don't worry. The boss hurriedly took the remaining girls out, quickly closed the door, and went out. The 4 girls who were left behind had smiled again. Although they were still a little stiff, it was not a big problem. "Mr. Yaoi, you think you like it?" Uchiha Shingen smiled and looked at Uchiha Yaoi, but found that the other party's expression was very similar. This made him a little puzzled. "Shinchuan." Uchiha Yaoi seemed to be seriously considering his words. "Isn't it a bit heavy to use the writing wheel for this kind of thing? What does it taste like? How do you know if it is squeezed out or squeezed in without a scribble eye? Then again, this trick is still, Uchiha Shingen looked at Taihua and the others with their black pupils and fell into deep thought. "The 3 of you usually write the whole process of opening round eyes, and today you have become a baby?" Turning his head again, he squeezed out a smile, "It's faster this way." "That's true." Uchiha Yaoi nodded, a little sighed, "Aya, blame me, I forgot that you just came back from the battlefield, and you are used to using a scribing wheel to look at everything." He waved to the second girl from the left. "Little sister Kaienhea, don't be afraid, come and sit here." Uchiha Shingen. "Is it the youngest to get started? Like this uniform?" This is exactly what he chose according to Yatsushiro's preferences. Chapter 4. Here comes a pretty boy. After an impure night, Uchiha Shingen's new day still begins with embracing the first ray of sunshine in the morning. After drinking too much, his brain was still a little dizzy, but it didn't prevent him from getting up on time. Money needs to be made, wine needs to be drunk, and girls need to be teased, but these are not as good as the fragrance of cultivation. Otherwise, we will look at each other on the telephone poles in the future. There is no task today, so I don't have to go to the ministry to check in, which is great. It's just that when he went out as usual and planned to go to the training ground to rub the equipment, he found that there were a lot of people who didn't go to work. They are all walking in the direction of the entrance to the clan. Uchiha Shingen wasn't interested in watching the fun, so he glanced at it and went on to the training ground. When I arrived at the training ground, I found that there was no one at all. I was a little surprised, but very happy. No need to wait in line for equipment, and then give a like. Enjoying the joy of being able to use whatever one wants, Uchiha Shingen began to practice. However, the good times didn't last long. Before he could finish practicing the technique of shuriken, footsteps came. Not one person, but a large group. Uchiha Shingen stopped cultivating and looked towards the entrance of the training ground, surprised the next moment. Patriarch took the lead in absenteeism. Not only the patriarch, but those who were absent from work, and those who didn't have to go to work, a black crowd appeared at the entrance of the training ground. However, the existence of the yellow-haired hedgehog explained everything. And the current patriarch, Uchiha Fugaku, is showing that he has other talents besides being a ninja, a tour guide. Lord Hokage, this is our clan's training ground. Usually everyone is here, eh? Shinchuan. Uchiha Fuyue looked at the young man standing by the shooting range in surprise. He remembered the name of this person. After all, he performed relatively well in the battle with Mist Ninja. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage Chapter 3. But this time it was very speechless. Obviously, there was a notice to tell everyone that the new Hokage club would come to visit the clan today, and since Uchiha was chosen for the first venue that they opened, Uchiha would also have to show face well. Didn't you see him, the patriarch, waiting for someone at the door of the clan before dawn? This guy is good, but he is still in the training ground. What's the matter? The dignified Hokage is not worthy of you to welcome him. Even if this is everyone's heart, don't make it so obvious. As a last resort, Uchiha Fugaku made an angry expression. Before he started acting, the new Hokage had already begun to play. Patriarch Fuyue, don't be angry, isn't it something that others envy with such hardworking young people in the family? The azure blue eyes looked at Uchiha Shingen with a confused face. The new Hokage showed a very friendly smile, and then spit out a large string. Is your name Shingen? I'm Minato Namikaze. Please advise. I have heard of your performance on the battlefield. Uchiha, who is good at various escape techniques, is rare. Uchiha Shingen didn't answer. It wasn't that he was rude or didn't react, but that he thought of another thing subconsciously first. Let the yellow flash go deep into the clan. Aren't you afraid that he will leave a mark on his feet? But people are already Hokage, it seems that they can't refuse. Indeed. Uchiha Fuyue's voice was a little low. Shinchuan's thinking is slightly different from that of the clan, and he is very interested in the escape technique. His voice reminds Uchiha Shingen. Lord Hokage. He bowed and saluted. Sorry Patriarch, I didn't know Hokage-sama was coming. It's okay, I just came to see everyone. After all, I, Hokage, don't know anything. Minato looks like he doesn't really care. Now he is famous in the ninja world, and he doesn't care about this kind of thing. Rather, he was more interested in the fact that Uchiha practiced Yangdun. The former squad leader of the Shangnan class, with the title of Yellow Flash, can decide the outcome of a battle by one person, and Namikaze Minato, who has grown to this point, is no longer a rookie who doesn't know anything. Whether it is the history of the ninja world or the darkness in the village, you should know everything you need to know. There are many things that he is interested in, and there are many things that are embarrassing. For example, after he took office yesterday, he planned to fight the Root, but it turned out that he couldn't win against Shimura Danzo at all, and the 3 generations didn't help him. He couldn't step down, realizing that he was a rookie player. He was hurt. But the human experiment that had been discovered before made him feel uncomfortable. However, he was too tender when he just took office. He only had the plate of the ninja class. He had no influence in several major departments at the top level, and it was difficult to do anything in a short period of time. So he decided to change the angle. After all, he is Hokage, the nominal leader of the village, and it is reasonable to visit various ninja tribes at the beginning of taking office. The first stop to visit Uchiha, who has always been excluded by the core of Konoha's power, is not only reasonable, but also very reasonable. The just concluded Third Ninja World War proved that the Uchiha family is loyal to the village. To be honest, Minato Namikaze has always felt that although Uchiha's face is paralyzed, his personality is weird, his speech is yin and yang, and he has a dark history, but as one of the most important supporting forces of the Konoha ninja, he is actually in the core team. Without the right to speak, it is outrageous. In the Third Ninja World War, Konoha appeared two beautiful boys, Namikaze Minato is one of them, and the other is called Uchiha Shursui. The record and age of stopping the water have made many people wonder if their forbearance is enough. The 13-year-old boy killed people on the battlefield like mowing the grass. During the war, each village let their ninjas see that he could run away, and he was treated the same as Minato. This can no longer be called a genius, it is called a genius when it has not grown up. But it is such a person, no matter who he is on weekdays, he will think from the bottom of his heart that he is a gentle and good person. Coupled with the sacrificed Uchiha Obito, this makes Namikaze Minato full of expectations for the young people of the Uchiha family. And he felt that he had discovered the law, that is, the more non-mainstream Uchiha in the family, the higher the recognition of the will of fire. In his eyes, Uchiha Shinchuan also meets this condition. Which Uchiha is full of himself to practice Yongdun every day. So he is looking forward to watching Uchiha Shingen now. But as a party, Uchiha Shingen was a little hairy when he was stared at by Namikaze Minato. Although he felt that the other party should have no malicious intentions, Uchiha Shingen still felt uncomfortable. After all, this guy is really too strong, one person can reach 1,000 troops. Hokage-sama, you are rude. He responded indifferently, I am purely personal interest. Namikaze Minato didn't seem to feel Uchiha Shingen's discomfort. He acted like a good friend he had known for many years, and continued to ask with a very curious look, I heard that you copied Miss Tin with a shackle on the battlefield. The blood following the limit. Is it true? Yes, it happened by chance. Is it convenient for me to take a look? Actually, I'm just curious. Uchiha Shinchuan had no choice but to pull out a small sword and mobilize chakra. Visible to the naked eye, cold air appeared on the blade, a thin layer of ice formed, and then decomposed and disappeared. Oh, this is the ice escape of the Snow Clan. Seeing the ice chips disappearing into the air, Minato Namikaze felt novel in his heart, and by the way, he complained about the Snow Clan he had never met before. As we all know, Sharingan can't copy Shueiji boundary, and can be copied successfully by Uchiha Shinchuan. This Snow family must be a parallel importer. The so-called ice escape is just a combination of ninjutsu that can be performed when special conditions are met. This is also the opinion of the vast majority of people, including the Uchiha family, after Konoha village learned the news. But it's not a day or two that Uchiha likes commercial blowing, everyone is used to it, even they themselves are used to it. Only Uchiha Shingen himself knows that it is not the name of the Snow family that does not live up to the truth. Year after year, his Yongdun began to show its effect. Facts have proved that after Qianshou and Maelstrom disappeared, Uchiha's bloodline and Qianshou Ludun were the perfect match in this world. The path that can send him to the peak has already begun to take shape. Chapter 5 Hokage should be feared. The new Hokage didn't wander around the Uchiha clan for too long, after all, both sides are here to do business. In the end, Namikaze Minato came to Uchiha's pre-prepared meeting room and had a cordial and friendly meeting with Uchiha's high-level executives headed by Uchiha Fugaku. Because Uchiha Shingen was caught as a model, he should not think about staying in the training ground to continue training, and as a member of the Three-Go Jade Writing Will I, he was arranged to stand guard at the door of the meeting room. The sound insulation of the door is the same. If Uchiha Shingen was asked to write a newsletter, he would probably write. The fourth-generation Hokage highly praised the great role played by the police department in the construction of the Konoha rule of law for a long time, and warmly called on all the cadres of the police department to strive for greater glory for the village and overcome the difficulties in the new rule of law construction work. Difficulty and perseverance to move forward, make achievements, make steady progress, and hand in an excellent rule of law answer sheet to the village. The Uchiha family said that they will thoroughly study and implement the fourth-generation Hokage rule of law thought, and carry out solid and effective publicity and education on the rule of law in the new era. The patriarch of Fuyue especially emphasized that the thought of the 4 generations of rule of law is a great practice to promote the comprehensive rule of law in the village and create a new situation in the cause of the rule of law with Konoha characteristics. It is the latest achievement of Konoha's rule of law theory. Education work. We must take the rule of law thought of the 4 generations as the fundamental follow and action guide. Uchiha Shingen said that the actual communication between the two sides was worse than what he had written, and the traces were too heavy. However, he understood the purpose of Namikaze Minato. This guy intends to liberate productivity. The income of the 5 major ninja villages is divided into 3 parts. The state allocates financial funds, commissions from tasks and taxes paid by villagers and businesses in the village. The financial funds allocated by the state belong to the dual control funds, which cannot be used freely by the villages, and the use of funds is limited. In the latter 2 items, the rake of mission gold occupies the absolute majority. This part is mainly contributed by ninjas above the Chunin, and the top priority is the Sharingan. The task is upgraded by 1 level, and the task gold is at least 10 times higher. The contribution of the 5 Murakami to the village's self-employed income is self-evident. And Uchiha Hunin is in a very special position in Konoha. Sharingan is really a good thing, but the acquisition cost is very high, even for Uchiha. The eye-opening rate is depressing. But once you have a riding wheel and haven't been beaten to death, it's only a matter of time before you get to Sengoku, and every Sengoku is a real jonin. In the current Uchiha family, there are less than 100 people with Sharingan, and only about 20 people with Sengoku Jade. This number is already considerable. After all, Uchiha, who has 3 Goyu Jade riding wheel eyes, is a basic exercise when he goes out. Unlike the old people, Minato Namikaze thinks it is a waste to trap such a group of ninjas in the police department. Is it possible that the big Konoha is still short of manpower to patrol the streets? On the contrary, the current Konoha is stronger than before the war. Konoha's biggest loss before was the suicide of Konoha White Fang. Although he has become Hokage now, if Uchiha's combat power is liberated, only one Uchiha Shisui joins, you can fill in the position of Konoha Baya. In this way, Konoha village has more sufficient manpower to take on more advanced tasks. After all, after this war, Shine village will lose a lot of trust from customers, which will lead to the diversion of a large number of task orders. Konoha, Yenin, and Yunin were all eyeing this batch of orders. The 3 villages all gave death orders. All Shanjin were not allowed to take vacations and were on standby at any time. Across the door, listening to the occasional discussion of the deceased Konoha White Fang, Uchiha Shingen felt a little dazed in his heart. Unconsciously, he held the handle of the small dagger in his hand. Reminds me of that overly serious man. You have such a standard Chinese character face, but you are full of emotion, slender and sensitive, and overly obsessed because of Mao, and finally made yourself sad. Konoha Baya is also a very special person in Konoha's history. It's not whether he is strong or not, but his action force is too exaggerated. The whole task harvester is very efficient. Before his accident, his mission resume can be summed up in 3 words, killing crazy. Uchiha Shingen's instant body technique was greatly inspired by Konoha Baya. That's why he used a small dagger, and he was impressed by the way that White Fang used the telekinesis technique with the dagger. One thing to say, it's really useful. Especially when the knife is broken, it is best to use. Walking around inattentively, Uchiha Shingen heard the laughter in the room getting louder, together with the sound of a group of people getting up. So he adjusted his stance. The next moment, the door was opened, and Minato Namikaze walked out first, followed by a group of satisfied Uchihas with an average age of 30. Among them, Shisui Uchiha, who was only 13 years old, made an outstanding contribution to lowering the average age. The current Konoha ninja probably would not have thought that in 10 years, if Uchiha Shingen did not change some things, the senior Konoha would completely become the senior club. Betrayal or runaway, Renjuli is directly a cub, Uchiha is simply gone, and the first village of the dignified ninja world will fall into the embarrassing situation of talent fault. And that change will begin with an event that will happen a year from now. The person in front of you is the key character. Thank you for your hard work, Shingen. Minato Namikaze seemed to be in a good mood and exploded. Actually, I noticed the application you submitted some time ago, and I want to go to Komubi Bridge instead of Obito. Yeah, unfortunately the village didn't agree. Uchiha Shingen smiled. It was a bit embarrassing. At that time, just after the application was submitted on the front foot, the back foot was sprayed by an elder. Said he was fooling around. Indeed, the situation over there was not a question of whether it was good or not, but rather bad. Iwa Shinobu carried forward the fine traditions that have always been carried out, and engaged in sneak attacks. The whole Konoha was very passive at the time. In the clan's view, Uchiha Obito was cannon fodder, and was thrown out to cross. And Uchiha Shingen wanted to take the place of Obito and prostitute Madam. But now that I think about it, this matter was hastily, it was my own boss, and it was a good thing not to be approved. It is still safer to go to prostitutes, then there are a lot of good things on hand, it depends on whether you are good or not. It doesn't matter, there is a chance. Minato Namika patted Uchiha Shingen's shoulder kindly, with a naughty look of not telling you something good but now. Then he walked away cheerfully. A group of Uchiha followed behind and sent the new Hokage out. Uchiha waited for them to finish before catching up. He just listened to Namikaze Minato in front of him saying, "You're welcome, I'll just go out by myself and everyone will work together in the future," and so on. "Brother Shinchuan." A voice came from beside him. Uchiha Shinchuan turned his head and looked at no one, then suddenly lowered his head. Uchiha Shisui, who has transformed from a genius to a master, is walking beside him, looking up at him. "Brother Shingen doesn't like Hokage-sama. Boy, don't pretend to be tender in front of me, hit you. Forget it, it might not be possible now. Because this stuff has opened a kaleidoscope. I'm Konoha's ninja." Uchiha Shingen said, "I shouldn't like him, I should fear him. Why be afraid? Hokage-sama is fine. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage Chapter 4. He is Hokage first, Shisui." Uchiha Shingen looked at him and looked back at the boy's miserable future in the comics. Since he is Hokage, his ego doesn't belong to him anymore, just like Renjuri. You understand this principle, right? Uchiha Shisui thought about it very seriously, and then showed a bright smile. "I trust Hokage-sama." "That's great, I also trust Hokage-sama." Chapter 6 Cute Uchiha. Convincing Uchiha Shingen that Hokage is impossible. Even if it is Senju Hashirama, when he becomes Hokage, his ego becomes the public property of the village, and Madara Uchiha is a lesson from the past. In a sense, the head of a village is not qualified to be a good person at all. A shadow can't talk about feelings with a ninja with white teeth, otherwise the latter will feel that it is fooling it, and even suspect that it is going to do it. The contact between Namikaze Minato and Uchiha went smoothly, and the relationship was in place. After all, he brought the ticket. He then visited Hinata again. The two major ninja tribes stated that they adopted a shift system to ensure that no less than 50 jounin can be called in the village at any time. If the particularity of Uchiha is counted, the actual combat power of these 50 jounin is more than that, not to mention 2. The clan can also provide more chunin. As for the special upper ninja, this is the level played by the Naruto building, and the ninja family does not engage in this stuff. This action of Namikaze Minato was not opposed by the original Hokage team, and several old men and women only raised their feet to express their approval. In the Third Ninja War, Konoha killed more people than the previous two, and the benefits obtained were unprecedented. After all, this is the third time. The 3 consecutive victories have made Konoha show prestige in various countries, and the largest order wave has erupted since Konoha was established. Judging from the recent situation, it can be expected that the overall scale will reach a rather terrifying level. It's not just Sand-in who spit out orders, but it spit out the most, who made it surrender first. Therefore, even Shimura Danzo said that if necessary, the root can also be freed up. Not only to take the opportunity to make money, but no one can hit the muzzle. The main body of the Konoha ninja army is not Umbu, let alone the root. The ninjas of these two institutions are only a fraction, and they are nothing compared to the vast number of ninjas in the village who rely on tasks to eat. The third ninja war is different from the second one. It is not entirely driven by national interests. Some conflicts are caused by the grievances of various ninja villages. The cost of this part has to be paid for by the villages themselves, and the ninjas on the mission have no income, only reimburses expenses. If you want the daimyo to pay military expenses for this part of the war, there is no way to do so. What does it have to do with me and your ninja villages brushing each other's reputation and grabbing quests? After a few years of fighting, not only the ninjas below have green eyes, but the village itself is starving. No kidding, whoever pulls back at this time will be sidelined by Chin Jun. Shimura Danzo knew very well that if there was such a problem, he would be 100% cleared. As a result, Konoha united as one and began to engage in tasks. The only two competitors are old friends from the north, Yenin and Yunin. Not to mention the highland barbarians who had to lick the on the roadside and taste it. Iwa Shinobu was still holding his breath, but they were very unconvinced when they lost. In response to the call of the Naruto building, the Uchiha clan not only left the most basic defense forces, but also mobilized all the ninjas that could be mobilized. This is not only to give face to the four generations, but the Uchihas also want to make money. There are many people in Hyuga, and Uchiha can't fight for quantity, so he can only win by quality. Uchiha Shingen also rarely participated in the clan meeting honestly. After all, it is related to who can leave the village. The clan quickly unified their thoughts, put forward the exaggerated slogan, "One Uchiha is worth 10 Hinata," and then completed the list as quickly as possible. There are less than 30 Sengu Jades in total. According to Uchiha Fuyue's opinion, except for those who need to be stationed at the top of the police department and the clan, there are 15 mobile posts that can be set up as permanent posts, and one person is reserved when there is a shortage of manpower. As a temporary post, the minimum requirement is that there can be 5 jonin guarantees at any time to do tasks outside. Uchiha Shingen was very relieved that he didn't need to fight for it, he was on the list. The way the clansmen are concentrating on making money is very cute. That's right, this is the style that the ninja should have. Cultivation can't be done behind closed doors, and you have to go out and chop people appropriately. Otherwise, how can you apply what you've learned? Too bad he wasn't the first. Uchiha Shursui is naturally in the first batch. No way, the first shot must be fired. The name, "Stop the Water in an Instant," is really loud. In the early morning of the next day, the 4 clan members, including Uchiha Shursui, under the eager eyes of the entire clan, were fully armed, and set off for the Hokage building. They will pick up the task there and go straight away. After sending them away, Uchiha Shingen did not go to the training ground as usual, because he could leave at any time, and he had to ensure his state. When he got home, he talked to his parents and sorted out his equipment again. He went back to his room, lay on the bed, and waited silently while resting. It was getting dark and finally the door was knocked. Shinchuan assembled. Uchiha Shinchuan quickly got up, put on his shoes, opened the window and jumped out. After 3 or 2 times, he jumped from the second floor to the gate, shouted, "I'm leaving," into the house, and went to the gate of the clan together with the people who came to inform him. At the gate, there are 2 clansmen who are also fully armed like him. Uchiha Yaoi was waiting. "Mr. Yaoi. It's very spiritual, Xin Xian." Since we had fun together, his attitude towards Uchiha Shingen has obviously changed. It used to be a business-like face, but now it's all, "Little brother, I'm optimistic about you." The friendship and happiness between men are so simple and nothing new. "I remember, you are good at wind escape, right?" Uchiha Yaoi asked. "Yes." "Well, that's good. There is an A-level quest entrusted by the nobles of the country of Soup. You must be able to accept it." Go to the Hokage building to pick it up. The country of soup. It is said to be rich in hot spring resources and an ally of the Fire Nation. Of course, an allied country is a nice term, and its role is to act as a battlefield between the two countries of fire and thunder. It is also the battlefield between Konoha and Yunin. The Kingdom of Frost, north of the Kingdom of Tang, is the younger brother of the Kingdom of Thunder. Yu and Shuang also have their own ninja villages, corresponding to the servants of Konoha and Yunin. Uchiha Yaowei said a few more words, and finally said, "This mission is a mission, but as far as I know, there will inevitably be ninjas coming to attack, although the client said that the Komer would be Tang ninja, but if they meet, they will be attacked. It must be Yunren, don't hesitate, kill it immediately, and the other is to leave evidence, and the village will ask the client to add money." Understood, maybe it has both, let's kill them together, and add more that way. Uchiha Shingen smiled. Hey, you can still laugh. It seems that you are very confident, but you also know the ninja battle very well. The identities of prey and hunter can be exchanged at any time, and your mission is to protect after all. Also, the most important thing is to protect yourself. Uchiha Shingen nodded, indicating that he accepted the advice. He also has this mental preparation. I hope that the client will not be too difficult to serve. Konoha's service attitude has nothing to say, which is why the order has always been the most despite being expensive. Saying goodbye to Uchiha's medicine, with the two clansmen, Uchiha Shingen ran to the Hokage building. Chapter 7 on how Uchiha works. Konoha Hidden Village uniformly collects and distributes tasks in the Hokage building. As the tallest building under Hokage Rock, this building has many functions. The top floor is the Hokage office, conference room, and secretarial department that assists Hokage in office. The middle floor is the office space of the administrative department and the Umbu headquarters. The first floor is separately divided for external window services, including the reception and distribution of tasks. The task hall is the busiest place on the first floor. There are 3 long bar tables of considerable length in the middle. The tables are placed horizontally to form a door shape. The middle is used to distribute tasks, and the 2 sides are used for clients to place. Minato Namikaze sits in the middle of the task and pays the task fee. As Hokage, he personally distributes the task and contacts the client. During this process, he will kindly inform the client about the details of the services they can enjoy, and introduce them to the business capabilities of the ninja who carry out the mission. In fact, Naruto didn't do this at the beginning. It started in the 3rd generation. Every day, I would sit for a period of time and talk about it. It really shortened the distance between Naruto and the ninjas. It was also highly praised by the client. It is not so easy to see one of the 5 major shadows, and it also makes them feel that spending in Konoha just feels more comfortable in their hearts. However, the initiator of the 3 generations of Hokage said that this is all forced. Hokage is not only the leader of Konoha, but also the representative of Konoha's external image, and his every move will be interpreted by countless people. When Sarutobi Hizen became Hokage, what troubled him the most was not the ninja tribe in the village, nor the basic friends of the day, but the group of brain-boosting monsters in and outside the village. Sometimes he really doesn't know who is the fan and who is the sunspot. Gao Lungfan is not suitable for Hokage at all. In the land of fire, the people generally have better living conditions, they are full and warm, thinking about gossip and eating melons. Namikaze Minato doesn't have this trouble for the time being. After all, he's hot right now. First, everyone's freshness hasn't passed. Second, as long as you become Hokage, you will be surrounded by good people. The character of Naruto's heart. Except for Shimura Danzo, he has always been very rigid. As soon as Uchiha Shingen entered the door, he saw the iconic spiky head. Another striking thing was the banner hanging in the mission hall, which read, "Please work hard, everyone." In front of the Namikaze Minato table, there are 3 people with exotic decorations, 2 adults, 1 child, one of them is dressed in dazzling clothes, and the other is obviously a guard. Uchiha Shinchuan can sense the flow of chakra from him. Although chakra in this world is not equated with ninjas, ninjas are indeed the preferred choice for most chakra users. Only a small percentage of them didn't consider being a ninja in the first place for some reason. There will also be unlucky ghosts who simply don't fit the path of ninjas, but that doesn't mean anything, there are other paths to take. Shinchuan, here we come. Minato waved to him, come here, let me introduce you, this is the famous master of Tangjigua. Uchiha Shingen walked over and looked at the gold master. From the appearance, it is the kind that is gentle, and it should be better to communicate. The task is afraid of encountering stubborn and self-righteous customers, which will increase the difficulty of the task for no reason. This kind of thing is actually quite common, because high-level tasks are generally commissioned by nobles. The country in this world is a typical feudal system. The country is composed of self-governing lords, called Mingju. Local bureaucrats are appointed by the Mingju. Their obligations to the daimyo are mainly military obligations, in addition to which they only need to pay a fixed amount of taxes, and the ninja village is not so much funded by the state as it is just funded by the daimyo. These famous owners are also high-quality customers that the big country ninja village needs to compete for, because these people are really handsome when they spend money. Sir Mingju, this is the elite of the Uchiha clan in our village, Uchiha Shingen. After Nafeng Minato finished his introduction, he said to Uchiha Shingen, it is not easy for Mrs. Ming to come to Konoha, you must pay attention to Shingen. Working methods, if there is something, you need to communicate more. Hearing Uchiha, the eyes of the famous master of Gaotai changed, and he seemed a little surprised. This is great, I will be very relieved to have a strong from the Uchiha family. However, he glanced at Namikaze Minato with a little regret. In fact, he is a regular customer of Minato Namikaze. He used to be named Minato Namikaze to be entrusted to him. After all, he is strong, speaks nicely, and is warm. But now they are Hokage, and they don't take orders anymore. Uchiha's business ability is strong. It's not enough to say, service attitude. It's a bit difficult to describe. As a famous owner, he actually doesn't want to hear others say, you give me the money, and I'll get him for you, which makes him feel very uncomfortable. It's just that as soon as Uchiha Shingen opened his mouth, his image of Uchiha changed. Lord Gaotai, please give me more advice along the way. You can call me Shinchuan. Uchiha Shinchuan looked at him with a smile, if you have any other needs, let's discuss more and try to come up with the best plan. Do you think he is just Uchiha Shingen? He also has a name that he has no hands, how to make customers willing to spend money on this, the process is very familiar. Uchiha singled out a top 2, and 1,000 hands grabbed a customer top 3. At this moment, the famous master of Gaotai felt that the feeling was coming, and it was in place. He said cheerfully, no, I don't have any special requirements, as long as our father and son are safe on the road. Okay, what's the schedule like? If possible, I hope to set off now, and it's not too long for me to leave the territory. Understood, I'll take over here and leave immediately. After communicating with the Gold Master, Uchiha Shingen looked at Namikaze Minato. Lord Hokage, the mission has been confirmed, then I will go. Well, be careful on the road. Minato Namikaze handed the scroll with the quest registered to the staff next to him, and finally said, no matter what happens, you must ensure the absolute safety of the master. Uchiha Shinchuan responded with a sound, and entered the role the next moment. The guard was on the side of the father and son of the famous master of the high platform, and followed them out. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage. Chapter 5. Chapter 8. Uchiha Shingen is actually super strong. From the north gate of Konoha Hidden Village along the ready-made Lus Road, Uchiha Shingen started his journey to the land of soup with the convoy of the famous master of the high platform. Gaotai is not the name of this famous master. Gaotai's famous master means that he is the famous master of this place. The journey in the land of fire is safe and peaceful. The traffic environment in this world was originally very bad. Under the feudal lord system, only big cities had roads built and maintained by famous local masters. In other places, roads were actually stepped on by too many people. After the establishment of the one country, one village system, since the ninjas were concentrated in the ninja villages, in order to facilitate people from all over the world to go to the ninja villages to place orders, each ninja villages began to consciously undertake the guidance of public transportation within the country, and even built roads by the way. The famous owners realized the benefits, so when the two parties added up, the originally self-funded traffic guidance became the field security hired by the state, and everyone was happy. But this joy is limited to the 5 countries. At this time, in the country of fire, due to Konoha's frantic harvesting mission, thousands of Konoha ninjas are scattered everywhere, the security environment is ushering in a golden age, and the trip of the Gautai Daming team is very smooth. Until they crossed the border and entered the land of soup. After entering the country of soup, the environment suddenly changed. Konoha ninja would not help Tang Jigua to provide public security in the wild for free. Less than a day after leaving the country, the convoy ran into a group of thieves. But there was no conflict between the two sides. Uchiha Shingen's shadow clone casually spewed a fireball, and they dispersed as birds and beasts. During this process, the guards surrounded the car that the father and son of the famous master of the high platform were riding in accordance with Uchiha Shingen's request, and he held the seal in his hand to observe the surroundings indifferently. After waiting for the thief to flee for a long time, there was no one around to see, and Uchiha Shingen let the team continue to move forward. The famous master of Gautai was puzzled at first, but Uchiha Shingen patiently explained it to him. Driving nearby thieves and even homeless people to rush into the enemy's team, letting the enemy relax their vigilance before attacking, this kind of thing did a lot in the Third War, and Konoha followed suit. And the famous master of Gautai also realized that he was too accustomed to the tranquility of the country of fire. He did not ask any extra questions on the next journey, and his cooperation was very high. The terrain of Tang Jigua is constantly rising from south to north. And according to the news he got, an opponent entrusted Tang Ren to disguise as Xuan Ren to take his life on the road in order to get his territory. The ninja war was never aimed at destroying or occupying hostile villages, but the Lord's fighting rules were just the opposite. But Uchiha Shingen was still non-committal about this. Even if the other party wanted to pretend to be Frost Ninja, either the other party's intelligence system was a big sieve, or it was intentional. In contrast, it is clear that the information of the Uchiha clan is reliable. The one entrusted will be Yun Ren. According to Yun Ren's style, it is very likely that they will not pretend to be anyone at all, as evidence that they are disguised as Yun Ren. A few days later, despite occasional small-scale harassment, Uchiha Shingen has yet to encounter a ninja attack. He didn't slack off because of it. If it was the enemy's tactic, he could only say it was really boring. No patience whatsoever, he's doing ninja. On the 5th day, when the sun was about to go down, the motorcade arrived at the edge of a river. On the opposite side of the river was a dense forest, which looked dark and silent from a distance. Bypassing this woodland, you will reach the destination of this mission. The convoy did not cross the bridge, but set up camp here, lighting a bonfire, setting up tents, and encircling the carriage in a circle as protection. As he approached home, Gautai Daming relaxed a lot. He asked people to lay a thick carpet near the bonfire, take out wine utensils and eat, and sat there with his children to enjoy the food and discuss life after returning home. Uchiha Shingen was patrolling around. This route is really too simple. He doesn't think this is a conspiracy, but it is due to the completely different fighting styles of Yun Ren and Wu Ren. Ninjutsu best represents the style of a village. The representatives of the mist ninja ninjutsu are the art of fog hidden and silent killing. The representative ninjutsu of Yun Ninja is the lay-done chakra mode. Compared with the frontal battlefield, most fog ninjas are better at non-frontal combat, while cloud ninjas are the opposite. With the night wind blowing, Uchiha Shingen licked his lips, and he was a little excited. Traveling through life still has an impact on his character. He is more and more like a Uchiha. The scarlet writing will I emerged from the darkness. He clenched the handle of the knife, and reminded himself to be patient with the coolness on the handle. This is in mission. The scarlet faded, and his eyes returned to their original color. After looking at the woods on the opposite side for a while, he turned and returned to the camp. As time passed, the voices in the camp gradually faded, and finally calmed down. The tired moon hid among the clouds, leaving only the dim light on the river, and the sound of running water on the beach in the stillness could be faintly heard. A slender figure suddenly appeared on the river. It was a blonde woman with cold eyes. She took a slight step forward, and when she disappeared in her original position, behind her original position, several figures also stepped on the river. All are ninjas. Even though the night obscured their forehead guards, the brown skin and the one-shoulder vest with one arm completely freed pointed out their identities. Only Yunren, who advocates attack, designs his battle suit like this. Even if other people want to learn, they don't like to learn. The woman who was walking at the front stopped. A young Konoha ninja appeared from the darkness ahead. Yunren looked at him coldly. This is an unfamiliar face, proving that Yun Ninja has no record of fighting this Konoha ninja. If there is no record, there is no information, but there is no harm in staring at it. So, you actually don't know how to harass people at all, right? Said the young Konoha ninja. You didn't sleep. The woman's voice was colder than the chill of the night. Not a question, but a statement. Of course, when I go out, whether it's food or water, I only use what I bring myself. Konoha ninja smiled without being nervous at all. There is no warmth in the smile, you can tell it is a fake smile at a glance. Stupid, it's better to fall asleep, the target was originally your Konoha ninja. The Yun ninjas slowly surrounded the enemy, with anticipation in their eyes. However, the woman made a gesture to stop them. Give you a chance, how did you discover us? Want to know if I have the Shueji limit? Yes, after all, you are quite big. The apricot yellow full moon drilled out of the clouds, which made all Yunren see it more clearly. The Konoha ninja in front of him, his eyes became scarlet, and 3 hook jade appeared in it. Their eyes widened and their mouths were dry. Sharing will eyes. The woman was no longer indifferent, took a breath of excitement, and trembled in front of her. Shockingly, my luck is so good. She smiled cruelly. Little brother, can you just grab it? I don't want to break you. That can't be done. Uchiha Shingen shook his head, and he could see their details at a glance. The color of chakra is very beautiful, 3 Shangnin, 5 Chunin, it's okay. He pulled out a small sword. I'll send you another piece of information. Actually, I'm super strong. Chapter 9 This is a prophet. When Uchiha Shingen pulled out the small sword, Yunren couldn't bear it any longer. Originally, they were not a group of people who could speak well. The attacking and killing team composed of 3 Jounin members and 5 special Jounin members was full of confidence in their ability to complete the task. In particular, the design of Shangnin is now available in 5 villages, that is, it has reached the level of Shangnin in a certain field, but the overall level is still Chunin. Therefore, the 5 Yunyins are particularly upset because Uchiha Shingen said that they are Chunin, and this group is very concerned about the salary of Chunin despite the title of Shangnin. So they felt that Uchiha was as annoying as rumors. Yunren's team spread out, 3 of the Jonin did not move lightly, and the 5 were particularly in the middle. The 3 of them flanked towards Uchiha Shingen, and the other 2 were heading towards the camp. It's a good habit to make money easily. Uchiha Shingen nodded in approval. The next moment, a scarlet curtain rose up in the direction of the camp, enclosing the camp in a square shape. Anyone else? A Hunin at the back was very puzzled. He was a ninja with sensing ability, but he did not sense that there were other ninjas here. Although there are still a few strands of chakra in the camp, they are a few guards. After a few days of observation, he is sure that they are a few who play physical arts, and the amount of chakra is pitiful, and he wants to play this kind of enchantment. Impossible. No one answered his question, and the 3 special Hunin couldn't hold back any longer. With the blooming thunder, they performed the thunder escape technique, which Yunren depended on to survive, and rushed towards Uchiha Shingen, who was going to attack the camp. Yunren also turned around and joined the battle here. In the face of Sangha Jade's riding will eyes, Yunren and the others knew very well that any avatar technique would be useless. Playing the escape technique was a gift, and the illusion technique was asking for trouble, so they chose to use the almighty thunder escape technique. Enemy. But what was coming was the bite of the gust of wind, almost blowing away their not thick thunder armor. Uchiha Shinchuan jumped lightly, and jumped into the air under the doubtful eyes of Yunren. Under the protection of the night, Yunren basically did not see clearly what seal Uchiha Shinchuan nodded. Until the hot flames stretched over their heads. Fire escape bursting wind dance. Under the action of the cyclone, the flame rapidly expanded at a speed visible to the naked eye, forming a huge flame vortex, which swept towards the Yun ninjas. This ninjutsu of the same name developed by Uchiha Shingen borrowed from the tricks of Obito in the future. Compared with the original version, it has its own advantages. Facing the vortex of flames that was spinning at a high speed and expanding wildly, the Yun ninjas hurriedly retreated. But, it's too close. The vortex drives the surrounding air, creating suction. A special Jounin was unable to escape and was involved. What he is good at is powerless in this sea of fire, and his companions on the periphery can clearly see him struggling frantically in the sea of fire, and finally loses his movement and is burned by the flames. The flames continued to expand, and Yunren had to step back again. Water done was rarer than lawn done in Yunin village. Unfortunately, there was no one in their team. When the vortex of flames dissipated, there was nothing left but the amazing heat in the air. Only a wisp of light from the darkness. With one knife, a Yunren was cut in half, and with his blood, it stabbed into the back of the other's head, and the blade came out of his mouth. Including the 3 Shanin, the other Yunin who were present even realized what happened. Their proud speed is in front of Uchiha Shingen. Today's Konoha is comparable to Uchiha Shingen in terms of instant body skills, and there are only 2 of them. In his last life, it was because he was good at the instant body technique that his name was called Thousand Hands. No one screamed that they were going to fight with each other, and the 3 Shangren didn't dare to ask them to watch the show. Stop the water in an instant. The blonde woman felt that today's order was going to be yellow. Ji Shui is 13 years old, and I am 17. You are stronger than him. Where is your IQ? I mean he is 13 and I am 17. No, you're an asshole. The blonde woman was a little upset. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage Chapter 6. She actually dislikes these 2 lumps. After all, the burden affects her speed and it is very inconvenient to fight. She wants to cut it. The retired mother said that if she cut it, she would die, and she also said that this was her dream when she was young. Shouldn't Yun Ren's dream be to be Raikage? Why are 2 lumps of meat? It turns out that Yun Ren will also beg for a bargain with his mouth. Uchiha Shinshien looked at her unexpectedly. I thought you were all ruthless. But the blonde woman didn't want to talk to him anymore. Withdraw. She waved and decided to give up the mission. Her mission is to hunt and kill Konoha ninjas who are alone in this area, rather than staring at this Uchiha. Sengu Jade's riding will eyes are really not easy to get, and 2 special Jounin have become sunk costs, and there is no need to increase losses. But how could Uchiha Shingen let her go? Yun Ren. 08. 3 Jounin. This one made a profit. The level of Shainin is the real backbone of each ninja village. It cannot be said that there are few, but it is definitely not a bad street. According to the number of people registered in the 5 major villages, the average number is only a few hundred when both active and non-active ones are counted. But the gap between Joinin and Joinin can be infinite, and in name Chisho Hazuma and Uchiha Madara are also Joinin. The chakras of the 3 Yunin Jonin in front of them are not very dark. Although the amount of chakra is not the absolute standard for judging the strength of ninjas, after the test just now, Uchiha Shingen is sure that these are 3 goalkeepers. This rank is not called Shainin, but it is both delicious and valuable. In the 3rd battle, he hacked to death quite a few on Wu Ninja's side, and the feel is really not much different from that of Chunin Ninja. The Yun ninjas were very mobile, they didn't even look at the bodies of their dead companions, and even used thunderbolts to stimulate their muscles in order to escape as soon as possible. This is ninja. It's a pity that Uchiha Shingen is not a ninja. He didn't lie to the blonde, he was super strong indeed. One of the Yun ninjas rushed towards the bridge, probably thinking that it would be faster to run from the bridge. As soon as the sole of his foot stepped on it, he flew into the sky together with the bridge. An ice mound rises from the ground, followed by more, rising from the riverbed, layer by layer, the ice mound has become an ice cliff in a blink of an eye, and the cliff tip hangs upside down in the starry sky, like a majestic silver giant, overlooking the earth blocked the way back for the Yun ninjas. Looking at their companions who were condensed in the ice, Yun Ren's faces were ugly. What level of chakra is this? Kicked the iron plate. Chapter 10 Ninja Etiquette. The first sight was a river, and the next second became a thin line of sky, and the Yun ninjas were very grassy. The mood is a bit broken. Yunin Lu, the most annoying thing is this type of ninja. A ninja with few chakras is not necessarily weak, but a ninja with a lot of chakra is definitely not weak. If a person is super strong, he must have a lot of chakra. Except for the special plugins such as White Eyes and Riding Will Eyes, or the chakra sensing ability is particularly powerful. If you want to intuitively judge the strength of the opponent's chakra, it is natural to look at the power of ninjutsu. The level of ninjutsu is completely divided according to the difficulty of use, that is, it only evaluates the ninja's ability to control chakra. For example, the fire extinguishing of the Uchiha family is only B level, but Hatake Kakashi's Thunder Escape clone is not. It is A level, and it is the same level as the Date Gate Duinja formation that can cry for a long time with a punch. The destructive power of ninjutsu only depends on the amount of chakra, and this principle is especially applicable to the 5 elements Dunjitsu. It's also a water escape and a waterfall, and Senju Tobarama released it into a tsunami. You are the water wall, but he is the dragon sucking water. Chakrado can really do whatever he wants. Uchiha Shingen, who can do whatever he wants, directly changed the terrain with a blast of ice escape. If the ninja of the Snow clan he used to prostitute had this amount of chakra, he would not have been prostituted and cut by him again. But Yun Ren in front of him didn't seem to give up. One of the 3 jonin, a man with a whole body and a "I'm a man" look on his face was very manly, and the electric light was swirling around, and the fist that was so bright could be used as a light bulb to hammer the ice wall, and it came down a little. Scum. Another Yunren simply ran up with a fire escape big fireball. The effect is even worse, not even the is removed, the difference in volume between the 2 sides is too large, and the melt has not resolidified quickly. The blonde woman was thoughtful, she turned her head and looked at Uchiha Shingen who was walking towards the crowd. It seems that you are not an ordinary Uchiha. She motioned for the crowd to spread out again. Did you copy the Shueiji clan? It seems that the Shueiji clan is a lie, but I didn't expect you to have this talent. How many Uchihas have you seen? Uchiha Shinchuan held a small dagger in his hand, the tip of the knife was downward, and the blood stained on it had not yet solidified. If you have seen the Snow clan, you should know them. It is true that he has the limit of blood. Don't be kidding, even a shaker can't steal the power of Shueiji boundary. Curiosity is enough. If you surrender now, you can still live. My name is Pantai, remember it for me. The Yunin ninja named Pantai pulled out a short knife after reporting his name. Win or lose is still unknown. This sentence inspired everyone's confidence, and Yun Ren's fighting spirit in the presence of the battle has obviously picked up. The essence of Yunin Lu is to sacrifice himself to attack, and what he wants is to be indomitable momentum. The words of the captain of the beautiful girl are very suitable for everyone's taste. Sorry, I'm too weak to remember. Uchiha Shinchuan wiped off the blood on the small sword and put it away, but if you are so serious about fighting, then in order to show that I am a polite person, I will use what I do best. Favorite spell will solve you. At the end, he reminded, remember to die peacefully, otherwise it will not look good if the head is cut off. When you're done, put your hands together. Water escape, water rush. Moisture in the air was extracted, and water jets spewed out of the ground. In just an instant, with Uchiha Shingen at the center, a huge waterspout like a dragon absorbing water appeared. He has been a ninja for 2 lifetimes, and the 5-element escape technique he is best at has always been water escape. After I became Uchiha, I snorted and prostituted a bunch. If the instant body technique is still comparable to him, then Shuei Dun is the only one in Konoha's generation. It turned out to be a water escape. Be careful of shock. Too condescending. A group of Yunren felt that they had been insulted by their opponents. Thunder flashed and lightning flashed on their side, but their opponents escaped with water. If he is angry, he must teach him how powerful Yunin is. The next moment, the waterspout rushed to the highest level, and the huge mass could no longer support it. It exploded in the air and poured down to everyone like a waterfall. Before it landed on his head, he already felt the exaggerated pressure, and the rich water vapor sprayed directly all over his body. One thing to say, this Uchiha water escape is powerful enough. If it weren't for the opposite riding wheel, they would think that they had encountered the master of water escape from Wuin village. When this thought came to mind, the first batch of water waves had already hit the ground and rolled in a tsunami-like momentum, rushing over their location. The roar of the giant waves could be heard in the ears of Yun Ninja, as if the whole world was submerged. When he heard this voice, Pantai knew that the rest of the special Jonin were finished. The impact of this level of water escape, it is not that Shanren can't bear it at all. Special Yunren is not good at defense, and the defense ability of those special Jounin is the level of regular Yunin Chunin. Even so, at the moment when the impact came, she couldn't stand at all, was taken away by a wave, and then ate another blow behind her back. It was after the huge wave hit the ice wall behind, and came back to fight her again. There is no such thing as loss of strength. All the offense and defense of this technique, including the amount of water and the length of time, are controlled by Uchiha Shingen, and it takes a little more chakra left and right. After a few more hits, Pantai finally found an opportunity and rushed out of the water. Enduring the pain, she looked around, and the water after the impact did not dissipate, because a new ice wall rose up around it, and together with the ice wall behind it formed a standard square, depositing all the water. In it, an above-ground lake was forcibly created. Standing on the lake, looking beyond the boundary of the lake, there are mountains in the distance. How could she have encountered such a monster? She turned around abruptly, and one of her companions broke the water, and it was another Jonin. "Taiyin, are you alright?" Pantai asked, even though it looked like something was going on. If it wasn't for looking at it, she would definitely think it was fake. "I'm alright, are you alright?" "It's okay," said Taiyin, whose face was blue. "Where's Kraft? Didn't you come out?" After a while of silence, the two stopped discussing this person. "What about Uchiha?" "Do not know. Maybe he's gone." Taiyin said in a low voice, even if he's strong, after using a technique of this scale, he should take the opportunity to retreat. He stopped talking, a look of fear on his face. Because a hand came out of the water and was grabbing his leg. He didn't even have time to shout, "Save me," and he disappeared in front of Panthea's eyes with a puff. Only the unresolved ripples on the water proved that he once existed. Chapter 11. Everyone is happy. Taiyin. Pantai looked at the place where his companion disappeared, and while shouting his name, he jumped back without hesitation, turned his head and rushed to the border, trying to leave the waters. "The teammates in this class are gone, so let's find another one. If you're gone, then there's nothing left. You girl is really cruel." The splashes swayed, and Uchiha Shinshien got out of the water and stopped in front of her. "Anyway, confirm your life and death before leaving." Pantai didn't say anything, just throwing a few shuriken, but it was easily blocked by Uchiha Shingen with a small sword. She didn't care, rushing towards Uchiha Shingen with unabated speed, and slashed with a knife. On the blade, the electric light flickered. Uchiha Shinchuan moved his finger, and a white practice hole rushed out of the water and penetrated her abdomen, but no blood rushed out, but exploded into a cloud of white mist. Pantai emerged from his side, and a knife stabbed straight into his ribs, but before she could make another move, Uchiha Shingen's body exploded, and the bone-chilling cold froze her into an ice sculpture, but the next moment there was a flash of fire. A greater force exploded the ice sculpture from the inside. "You are much better than others." Uchiha Shinchuan floated up from another surface of the water, and in his scarlet eyes was the beautiful back of Pantaya, who was running wild. The next moment, she was cut into several pieces by the water blade that erupted under her feet, but she was still a clone. "Is it interesting? You can't deceive me." Uchiha Shingen turned around and looked at Pantaya, who was staring at him behind him. "You know, the gap between us is not a little bit." "Yeah, you Konoha, there are always monsters." Pantai sneered, "So many monsters didn't fight." "I don't want to kill you, but you curse people. Good intentions." Pantai sneered, "If you want to get information, you don't have to. I'm also a Jonin. If you capture me alive, Konoha is ready to fight Yunin." As expected of Yunren, he is already used to using war threats. Uchiha Shingen's eyes flashed a trace of contempt, and at the same time conveyed it to the other party very well. The selection mechanism of ninjas in the 5 major villages is the same. You should all be just reserves, Hunin or special Shurnin, that is to say, the official identity is still Chunin, and your behavior outside cannot represent your own village. Pantai's face became ugly. It seems that I got it right. Uchiha Shingen nodded. Obviously, the person who arranged the exam for you is not good. Your information has been completely intercepted. What do you want? As Yunin's ninja, you have no value. The captured Chunin can only be dead or rebellious. If you don't want to die or be dealt with by your own village, you can only follow me to Konoha. How about, do you want to exchange the information you know for a new identity? Uchiha Shingen looked at the girl who was obviously struggling with interest. As he said, Yunyin's so-called 3 Shangnin, although under the insight of Sharon Yen, does have the chakra volume that a Shangnin should have, but the quality is completely different. Tolerate. In today's ninja world, all ninja villages identify the ninja level by copying Konoha. If an ordinary person has the qualifications to use chakra and can master the avatar technique proficiently, then he has reached the entrance standard of the ninja school. After graduating from ninja school, it is a genshin, and it is the only way to become a genshin. When Shimonin becomes a Chunin, he will either pass the Chunin exam or be directly promoted by the leader of the village. As for the Chunin and above, regardless of whether it is a special Shangnin or a Shangnin, it can only be directly promoted by the village leader. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage Chapter 7. Therefore, it is not his strength that decides whether a ninja can become a Jonin, but the leader of the village. The first meaning of this identity is not strength, but that this person has been remembered by the village leader. As for whether it is good or bad, it varies from person to person. But one thing is for sure, it must have valuable information. Being able to be promoted by Raikage proves that you have pursuits. If I guessed correctly, you have pursuits of power, right? Uchiha Shingen decided to add fire to the other party. If the fire is wrong, it will be a big deal to kill her. Konoha is more generous than Yunin in this regard. There is no Hokage family there. As long as there is enough credit, even if a book of seals that Hokage personally looks after is open. It's just a suitable technique that was selected. Do you think I haven't seen the world? Pantaya suddenly said this sentence. But obviously, her tone was different. If you are qualified to read that book, Hokage will dare to let you choose whatever you want. I'm afraid you won't be able to practice. The current 4th generation Hokage is from a commoner. One of the most powerful ninjutsu. Uchiha Shingen responded indifferently to her, so you have already decided? If you lie to me, trust me, I have a way to fix what the village has got in my head, and a way to get you nothing. If I want to deceive, I'm also deceiving you. What are you doing to deceive you? Uchiha Shingen was very satisfied. He is really a good ninja with a village in his heart. Bring this person back, enough for the group of people in the Hokage building to be busy for a while. At least the roots responsible for overseas espionage have been busy for a while. After all, the irritable old man and the family were completely at odds with each other. If he didn't do something for him, he would find something to do. If he didn't get it right, he would get him on his head one day. This is very good. The village can get the information to prevent Yunin in advance. The old man who is too energetic has something to do, the family side will be less stimulated, and his personal income will also increase. He takes care of both the public and the private. He also rescued a lost cow in Yunin village. All are happy. He is awesome. Okay, wait for me for a while. Uchiha Shinchuan was about to dive with joy, and this action made Pantai immediately nervous. What do you want to do? Can this world get better? The lost cow didn't even believe him. For the sake of money, Uchiha Shingen decided to endure the grievance. Don't be nervous, I'll go down and get the enemy's head up, otherwise I won't be able to add money, he said. I'm here, do you remember to add money? Pantai felt that his perception of this person needed to be adjusted. What do you want to do as a ninja? If you don't add money, you will support me? No, you come up, I'll go down. Pantai released the chakra under his feet and dived into the water first. Uchiha Shingen, who was still half submerged in the water, always felt that this sentence was not serious. He vigilantly senses the movement in the water. But in his perception, Pantai is really honest. After a while, she resurfaced. But Uchiha Shingen didn't see what he wanted. Where are their heads? You don't have to head, there is this. Pantai raised her arms, holding her forehead guard in both hands. As for the intelligence, I am the person in charge, and I will do. It's a human touch now. Uchiha Shingen thought for a while and accepted this statement. Chapter 12 Reaching a Consensus with the Captive. The next morning, Uchiha Shingen woke up the restful high-level master and his group. Of course, the 4 shadow clones who stayed in the camp also lifted the barrier that had been held overnight. People in the team have long been used to seeing the red enchantment around them after getting up, that is, TSK Tisk TSK, when they saw this thing on the first night. Ninja has a very high appearance rate in this world, so that ordinary people are actually very numb about ninjutsu, because there are so many watching. Unless you want to be a ninja, you have no curiosity to understand at all, so ninjutsu is cool. Hyun is the fixed cognition of ordinary people. In this regard, the old salesmen in various villages understand that when communicating with customers on a daily basis, the best ninjutsu has nothing to do with practicality. Engage in an A-level shadow cloning technique with a change in nature, the effect is far less than if you directly spray a C-level, fire escape, big fireball. You must know that the post-task evaluation from the client is very important, which is directly related to the village's percentage of the task bonus. Uchiha Shingen now likes to use the 4 red sun formation as his evaluation. After all, he is a cautious person, and he is very fond of this A-level ninjutsu, which is very powerful in both visual effects and actual effects. Very humanely put on the forehead guards of the dead ghosts and the lost cow who was summoned to safety, Uchiha Shingen first went to visit the famous master of the high platform and explained to him the situation last night. Something to communicate with customers in a timely manner. To be honest, the customers in this world are much easier to talk to than the customers on Blue Star. When doing business in Blue Star, sometimes you think you are party A, but in fact you are party B. You think you are party B, but in fact you are party A came. After being messed up several times, Uchiha Shingen, who was still young at the time, realized a truth. Anyone who speaks the most eloquent words in the most cordial tone has a high probability of being the real party A's father. Say the most cowardly words in the most rigid tone, no doubt, it must be the true son of party B. In the world of ninjas, the former are mostly upper ninjas, while the latter are all lower ninjas. That's why Shionin can kill 50,000 taels for a single order, while Shanjin has to start at 150,000 taels for a single order, and there is no upper limit on the amount according to the content of the task. Let Pantai stay outside the tent of the famous master of the high platform first, and Uchiha Shingen walked into the tent. The old brother was supervising his son to eat eggs and drink a large bowl of milk. "Brother, you worked hard last night." The famous master of Gaotai smiled as always, and the son next to him, Jun, looked at the big bowl of milk in his hand as always, bitterly and deeply. "It's not hard work, it's the big thing that affects your rest." Uchiha Shingen smiled, "I just have something to report to you." I don't report anything." "Brother, you are good at everything, but you are too polite." The famous master of Gaotai beckoned. "You said earlier that I wouldn't cook a small stove by myself, but it's really important, about what I served last night." Uchiha Shingen secretly said that this guy says this every morning, knowing that he won't eat it. "Oh. Do you need to change the route?" "It doesn't matter, you can arrange it." "I told them already." The famous master of Gaotai didn't care, but he also complained in his heart. This young man said that he ate it every morning. In fact, he ate meatballs for 3 meals a day. The life of a ninja didn't seem to be easy, so he had to write a letter to Lord Bofeng and ask him to send more to the little brother. "Money, how can I grow my body without eating better? This little brother is really good, young and promising, and comfortable to live with." It is no wonder that Mr. Hoffen recommended him to take orders when he became Hokage. The route is like this. There is one more thing. It was Yunren who attacked last night. Do you have any clues about this? Uchiha Shingen handed a piece of Yunren's forehead to the famous master of the high platform. It doesn't matter if you have any clues, you have to pay more. Is Yunren? Looking at the forehead guard in his hand, Gao Tai Mingzhu had a strange expression on his face. This is. I didn't expect it. Don't worry, I won't turn back here, brother. It's difficult for you. I will write a letter to Hokage-sama, please bring it back. It's not troublesome, it should be done. Uchiha Shinchuan is very satisfied, the old brother has a good character, and the extra money is not sloppy at all. He likes it very much, and will give him a discount in the future. The other thing is that I caught one here, and the other party agreed to surrender. I'm going to take her with me. Ah. The famous master of Gao Tai was really shocked at this moment. Is there such a thing in Yunren? In his impression, the ninjas in Yunin village are very persistent and can be called iron heads. However, this external image has also led to a good reputation in Yunin village. Everyone knows that the ninjas in Yunin village will not give up halfway after taking the task. Her information may be useful to the village. My idea is to see if you want to. Maybe there is something you need to know on your side. Oh, yes, it makes sense. The famous master of Gao Tai raised his evaluation of Uchiha Shinjen again in his heart. This young man is too caring, unlike many ninjas who are perfunctory when they approach the end of the mission. Let her come in. I also want to know who hired Yunren to deal with me. Pantaya, come in. Uchiha Shinjen shouted outside. Panti opened the tarpaulin and walked in. Seeing her first glance, the pupils of the famous master of the high platform instantly dilated. Brother. He asked Uchiha Shinjen in a rather envious tone, have you searched? Pantai frowned. Sure enough, it should be cut, and everyone looked at her. One day, she will let others see if she has a weapon on her body. Uchiha Shinchuan motioned for her to stop, opened the writing wheel, and checked her whole body again, let go of her and said, you know what to say and what not to say, don't waste the opportunity. I know this better than you. Pantai's tone was not very good. And I don't put things in here. You don't need to check for so long and waste your time. You can count it yourself. Uchiha Shinchuan took back the chakra in his hand, nodded to the famous master of the high platform, left the tent, and stayed with the guard leader outside the tent. Lord Shinchuan, is this okay? The leader of the guards didn't seem to be at ease. After all, this woman came to assassinate Lord Mingzhu. It doesn't matter, even if she thinks about this distance, she can't do anything. Uchiha Shinchuan reassured him, the guard leader gave him a good impression and was very dedicated. Uchiha Shinjen respects people who work seriously. But the guard leader always felt unreliable, but the boss didn't call him, so it's not good for him to just break in. Do you know the transcription seal? Uchiha Shinjen decided to let him relax. This is a ninjutsu unique to our family. You can seal the design technique in your own or others' eyes, as long as the conditions are met. Will be released. Can ninjutsu do this? The guard leader was both in awe and envy. Uchiha is really amazing. Of course, I'm also a jonin anyway. Chapter 13 Missing him. Without chatting a few more words with the guard leader, Pantai came out. Uchiha Shinjen saw this and took her away. After a while, after the family of the famous master of the high platform was also packed up, everyone set foot on the itinerary again. What is this? Someone suddenly shouted. Under the blue and quiet sky, an above-ground lake guarded by crystal-clear ice peaks is standing on the ground ahead. The originally wide river channel has become the Great Wall of ice and snow. The famous master of Gao Tai and his son were also watching, and they looked at Uchiha Shinjen from time to time. Uchiha Shinjen patted his head. He forgot. Walking forward, he began to unblock the river and introduce the lake water into the river. After everything was done, he built an ice bridge again. After all, the original wooden bridge was destroyed by his ice escape. When the convoy crossed the bridge, there were still people who couldn't help touching it with their hands, but they were shivering even with gloves. So that Uchiha Shinjen had to stop their boring behavior and let them cross the bridge as soon as possible. This mission is finally coming to an end. If you do the math, it has been more than half a month, and it is also a lot of times that Uchiha Shinjen directly uses ninjutsu to open the way, otherwise he is still halfway there. He was a temporary highway. After a few more days, everyone finally arrived at the Gaotai area, the destination of the mission. After entering the mansion, the famous master of Gaotai completed his handwritten letter to Minato Namikaze very efficiently, and handed it to Uchiha Shingen. This amount will be repaid as soon as possible. As an ally of the country of fire, the country of soup uses the currency system of the country of fire, which is very convenient to settle. After Uchiha Shingen expressed his thanks very cooperatively, he took Pantai back for the journey. The speed of returning to Konoha was very fast. In just a few days, the two of them could already see the west gate of Konoha village from a distance. Regarding the identity of Pantai, when he passed the domestic supply point on the way, he had passed the news back to the village through the Konoha ninja at the supply point. Otherwise, once they entered the forest where Konoha village is located, the two would be intercepted by Umbu. Konoha's business is still so good, people come and go, and there are already queues at the gate of the west gate. Uchiha Shingen, as a virtuous ninja, of course queues up honestly, that's weird. He does not delegate tasks. Called Pantai, the two jumped up the tree all the way to the door, and then landed in front of a Chunin who was registering. Chunin raised his head, not surprised, and saw Yun Nin's forehead slashed on Pantai's head. His expression was very strange. It's not strange why there is Yun Ren's betrayal here. Pantai's identity has long been known to these gatekeepers, and there are photos. He thinks it's strange, why does this girl do so much? Anyway, you will have to change it after a while. And Chunin Koen is not surprised at all about Pantai's change of court. Even a ninja like him who specializes in performing his duties in the village knows that after several times in the ninja world, the group of Chunin is the most mobile, but the flow between the 5 major villages is rare. Lord Shinchuan, Lord Hokage asked you to go directly to his office with this, friend. Okay, thank you. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage Chapter 8. Uchiha Shingen nodded and took Pantai to the Hokage building. Along the way, the passing Konoha ninja couldn't help but look at Pantai's head. Maybe it was because he was surprised that rebellion and forbearance could openly appear in Konoha Hidden Village, or maybe he wanted to cut off the head and go to the black market to exchange money. But no matter what, the existence of Uchiha Shingen kept them from going here. The goods are good, but they already have an owner. Now that there are so many tasks, it's not bad for this one, and I don't have to offend my colleagues in my village. Soon, the two arrived at the Hokage building. You can't jump here, whoever jumps in the dark part of the building immediately fights with him. Therefore, after verifying their identities, the two walked up the stairs properly. Speaking of which, since the second rebirth, Uchiha Shingen has never entered the Hokage office. Under the leadership of Umbu Ninja, after the two reached the top floor, they bypassed the circular corridor and finally arrived at the Naruto office. The ninja stationed at the door of the office glanced at the two. The scrutinizing gaze only stayed on Panthea for a few more seconds. Is Shinchuan here? Let him in. Umbu Ninja opened the door of the office and invited the two of them in. Walking into the office, Uchiha Shingen first looked around, but he was still the same. As the office of the leader of the first village of Ninja World, this place is quite ordinary, and the area and decoration are of an average level. The desk is quite messy. Namikaze Minato was sitting on the sofa of the reception, drinking tea leisurely. It's still quite enjoyable to see his squinting eyes, but he's only handsome for 3 seconds, and he's scalded when he drinks it. Shinchuan, come and try the tea. He said while sticking out his tongue. Lord Hokage, this is a letter from the master of the high platform. Uchiha Shingen handed the letter over and sat down on the sofa. It was Hokage who told him to sit anyway. Namikaze Minato did not chat first, but read the letter carefully. I see. Putting the letter aside, Minato Namikaze turned his attention to Panthea who was standing aside. I already know about your situation and discussed it with the 3 generations of adults. It's not a big problem, but you still need to go through Umbu to carry out the necessary procedures. Review, this is a necessary process, I hope you don't mind. I have no problem. Pantai's face softened a lot. Namikaze Minato's attitude gave her confidence in Konoha's attitude. As for censorship, if Watergate said she could go to work without censorship, she would immediately start planning an escape route. At the same time, colleagues from the interrogation department and the intelligence class will contact you first. Don't worry, as long as you join Konoha sincerely, the time will be fast, and we will find a way to get your family to the village, but it's not a half hour. It's a matter of a while, and externally, we will create a sign that you have been killed by Xian Xian, and you need your cooperation in this regard. Uchiha Shingen silently poured a cup of tea on the side. Why is this smell so familiar? I tried it, and I'm sure it's a special offering from the big brothers in the family. He remembered that Namaba Minato's wife and Uchiha Fugaku's wife were best friends. I just don't remember what his wife's name was. I only know that the new Azura is his mother from the Whirlpool family. To say that this vortex is also a sin, it was obviously next to the country of fire, but it was destroyed. As distant relatives of Senjisho, they have the same source of yang escape talent. As a kind of time and space ninjutsu, sealing technique must be A-level if it is a little more awesome. The average ninja would not dare to take this as their own development route. The 4 generations of Hokage in front of him can take the technique of flying thunder gods to a higher level, and the little whirlpool princess at home is a big contributor. Recalling the past, Uchiha Shingen couldn't help showing his aunt's smile. Those days when the big dog prostitutes were really happy. The 17th year of farewell to the big dog, miss him. Shinchuan, you are smiling like teacher Jiraiya. Chapter 14 Namake's Minato begins to act. When his memories were interrupted, Uchiha Shingen raised his head. Minato Namake's was looking at him shaking the letter in his hand. It seems that you get along very well with the Lord. I rarely see him boasting like this. I am impressed by you. Hokage-sama, it's just to give each other face. Uchiha Shingen said. That's not the point at all, and he doesn't want to hear that right now. Well, according to the actual situation you encountered, we discussed it and decided to increase the cost of the task to 800,000 taels. You can get 712,000 taels, Lord Shinchuan. You don't have to wait for the master to make up the balance, you can take the money back first. Ness, just listen to this. Uchiha Shingen stood up from the sofa with a swipe, of course not forgetting the verbal process. Thank you Hokage-sama and the village for cultivating me. Pantia's eyes on one side were full of envy. Before, taking advantage of her position, she took over the task of assassinating Gaotai Daimyo. If she hadn't bumped into Uchiha Shingen, she would have been counting the money in the Rakage building by now. On the other hand, Namjoon Minato was a little confused. But when I think back to the identity of Uchiha Shingen, I understand it again. The Uchiha family, but they don't receive many tasks in a year. Before he became Hokage, how could he take on several S-rank and a dozen A-rank quests a year in peacetime? Although he was not as good as Konoha Baya, earning 30 to 40 million taels a year was still very good. Stable. Of course, the expenses of a jonin are not small, especially the development of ninjutsu. At first glance, 30 to 40 million taels are a lot, so that's what it is. Like Uchiha Shingen, without the financial support of his family, he would not be able to practice Yongdan at all. Don't worry, Xian Xian, I still have something to talk to you about. Seeing that Uchiha Shingen turned around and was about to leave, Namake's Minato hurriedly stopped. Ah. Lord Hokage, I have to go back to the family to report safety, old man, you know. Auntie and uncle shouldn't be considered an old man. He got up and pulled Uchiha Shingen back to the sofa and sat down. Minato Namafeng said to Pantai first, Pantia, thank you for your hard work, Umbu at the door will take you to the intelligence class. I see, Hokage-sama. Pantai wisely resigned. When the door was closed again, Minato Namika sat down opposite Uchiha Shingen and made him a cup of tea. The two of them drank tea in silence, and neither of them spoke. Uchiha Shingen was really drinking tea, while Namake's Minato watched the young man in front of him while drinking tea. The Uchiha clan has a bad impression of Minato, but it is also close to the difference. If you have to say something bad, it is nothing more than the current Konoha. The Uchiha clan is a group with a relatively low degree of integration. It's that group, not that one. The organizational model of the ninja family itself shows that it has a strong independence. In this era of one country and one village, the pattern of the ninja alliance at the beginning of each ninja village no longer exists. In the past few decades, a large number of ninjas have either disappeared or disintegrated, and Konoha is still practical. There are only 8 surviving ninja clans, among which Uchiha and Hinata rely on the bloodline inheritance of Hitomi, and their combat power is the most powerful. Uchiha is stronger in a few elites, while Hinata is stronger in the average. In the Uchiha family, only a few people can have a riding wheel, while the Hyuga family is very few people who can't open their eyes. However, the torrent of the times cannot be stopped. As a product of the last era, the ninja tribe is still in the mainstream. The fundamental contradiction between Uchiha and Hokage building is not that they have had a black history, but that there is a conflict in the fundamental concepts of the two sides. Hokage building said that the village is a big family, everyone has the obligation to protect the small family, and the small family should also actively contribute to the prosperity of everyone. And Uchiha will say, I don't have Hokage in my house, it's none of my business. Just chatted to death. Of course, Namikaze Minato knew that things weren't so simple, and he also understood those kindnesses and grievances. Whether it was bringing soil or stopping water, these two young people made him feel that there was still hope for everything. For the sake of the village, he could transform into Shura, but Uchiha was also one of the village's companions, and he would never give up easily. The impression of Uchiha Obito to Namikaze Minato is pure, full of blood, and reckless cuteness. The impression of Uchiha Shisui to Namikaze Minato is that he has delicate feelings and great love in his heart. They are all people who cherish their companions. But for Uchiha Shingen, the Hokage building has always been in the dark. According to the information that Umbu has been collecting all the time, Uchiha Shingen's strength is very strong. As far as the water escape skills he showed on the Mist Ninja battlefield, unless it is the resurrection of the second Hokage, no one in Konoha can match him. The difference between him and Uchiha Shisui is that Uchiha Shisui is more energetic when there are more people, but he doesn't work hard when there are many people. Uchiha who is so young and strong, not only did not everyone know what he preached, but he was also a little stubborn, which was very un-Uchiha. Although I don't know if the attachment to money shown by this guy is true, Namikaze Minato hopes it is true. It's just a few more tasks, it's not a problem at all, I'm extremely willing. Sandemo also said that as long as he is a person like Uchiha Obito and Uchiha Shisui, there is no problem with multiple assignments. Strictly speaking, the third generation has an opinion on the old people of the Uchiha clan, and he has always had great expectations for the new generation. Namikaze Minato felt that it was time to make formal contact with Uchiha Shingen. He put down the teacup and began to think about the words. The opposite Uchiha Shingen also looked over, with an expression of, what are you doing, big brother? Minato Namikaze felt offended. He is Hokage. Isn't it more important than mission gold? Shinchuan, I know your secret. Minato waved his eyes, you are actually very strong, right? Lord Hokage, I don't quite understand. Uchiha Shingen frowned, I've always been strong. Why is it a secret? Namikaze Minato. Good guy, take back the previous opinion, he is very Uchiha. Shisui got a name on the battlefield, but you didn't. Have you ever thought about why? Maybe it's because the ones I met were stupid, and they couldn't run, so I had to kill them. It's not that they don't run, they simply have nowhere to run. Thinking that those mist ninjas were actually killed by Mizuden, even if they were enemies, Minato Namifang couldn't help feeling a little sympathetic. Really useless death. Speaking of this, Xian Xian, your water escape technique is very similar to the second generation Hokage-sama. Lord Hokage, you know that the second generation is so fond of escaping with water, and it was almost copied before the village was established, but our family is not very good at it. You're pretty good at this one. With a lot of complaints in his heart, Minato Namifang decided to bypass this topic and get down to business. Shinchuan. Lord Hokage, why don't you just ask? Well, I just wanted to ask, what do you think of the village and family? Chapter 15 The Patriarch is also in action. Namikaze Minato asked very seriously. Uchiha Shingen also answered very seriously. The relationship between rights and obligations, he said. Enjoying rights and fulfilling obligations should be equal. There is one thing to say, no one should talk about the bad debt between Hokage building and Uchiha. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage Chapter 9. It is a fact that the Naruto building suppressed Uchiha. However, Uchiha did often only stand on the side of the family's interests, and he was very rude when he contributed to the village. If he asked for it, he must be rewarded. From a legal point of view, Hokage is the direct superior of the police department, and as a result, he was unable to step down more than once. Which unit leader would like such a subordinate department? Equally. Minato Namikaze felt that this answer was acceptable to him. It is estimated that the old people will not work. It's not that the Sandaime will not agree with this truth, but that the old people don't even have the most fundamental trust. I can't believe it, I can't believe it. Such a deep estrangement appeared in a village comrade, and Minato Namikaze felt a pain in his head just thinking about it. Absolute fairness definitely doesn't exist. The village is very big and many people need to be taken care of, especially when most of them are paying. Minato Namikaze tried to express his thoughts in a more euphemistic way, or Hokage. The building's thinking, it's no longer a question of who is right and who is wrong, it's a question of trade-offs. It's natural. Uchiha Shingen nodded, it's actually a matter of trust. After organizing the language well, he sincerely said to Minato Namifeng, Lord Naruto, ninja is not popular these days, everyone is from the same village, look down and see, maybe the old man's thoughts are different from ours, but as long as everyone is willing to let go of their prejudices, there is nothing that cannot be discussed. In fact, in terms of the actions of the Hokage building over the years, it has not had much impact on the strength and development of the Uchiha family itself. The healthy development of the ninja clan is determined by population, ninjutsu, and financial resources. The Naruto building only limits the power of Uchiha, but the power of a police department is enough to support the normal development of the Uchiha clan. Therefore, in Uchiha Shingen's view, it is not realistic to say that the Naruto building treats Uchiha as an enemy. They still only regard Uchiha as a selfish subordinate department, an internal instability factor. In essence, Uchiha and other ninjas are not very different in the eyes of the Hokage building. In fact, none of Konoha's shinobi clan was able to enter Konoha's decision-making level, so the Nara clan was a little closer because of their general brains. Even if Hiruzen Sarutobi is in the digits for 10 years, the benefits that the Sarutobi clan can obtain is only at the economic level. But Konoha, the ninja tribes that have survived to this day, all have their own ways of making money, and no one is short of money. Do you trust me? I can probably understand what you think. Minato Namaba believes that what Uchiha Shingen is telling the truth. To be honest, in Uchiha Shingen, he can't feel the kind of common Uchiha family has. Arrogant. In other words, Uchiha Shingen's pride has surpassed the limitations of the Uchiha family. I am great because I am great, not because my family is great. Although Uchiha Shingen didn't say so, Namikaze Minato believed that he thought so. But this way, you won't be able to relax. Minato Namikaze couldn't help laughing when he thought of what might happen in the future. Uchiha Shingen looked confused. Shinchuan, I'm looking forward to your performance in the future. Minato Namikaze picked up his teacup and drank tea again. Okay, I won't delay you going home, and I will say hello to my uncle and auntie. Okay, Hokage-sama. Although he couldn't figure out what Hokage was hiding in front of him, Uchiha Shingen wanted to leave. Ma-Lu got up and left. The first thing I did after leaving was to rush to the mission hall and collect the mission gold. There is an episode, that is, the little girl who is responsible for verifying and distributing the task gold, watching Uchiha Shingen's way of counting money in 100 streets, she was stunned. After all, Uchiha Shingen is a very solid jonin, with excellent handwork, as well as a writing wheel, and the efficiency of counting money is superb. When he walked out of the Hokage building, Uchiha Shingen had already made clear in his mind how to spend the income of more than 700,000 taels. The wealth of the ninja clan does not mean that the individual in the ninja clan is wealthy. The higher the ninja level, the higher the training cost. Although Uchiha Shingen cultivates hard, he is not an ascetic. He spends money like flowing water. A proper moonlight clan. Don't look at his mission now, but correspondingly, because he temporarily left the police department, all kinds of income there will be cut off. In this way, although the overall income has increased, the expenditure is still very tight, because his Yang escape has now reached a more critical moment. He had no choice but to endure it. Before Yang Dun could break through, he stopped drinking tea. Most importantly, he had to find a way to receive S-level tasks. The upper limit of A-level tasks is 1 million taels, while S-level starts directly at more than 1 million, and there is no ceiling. Aside from being hired by the state to participate in the war, the main content of the S-class mission is to assassinate important figures in other countries and confidential documents. Under normal circumstances, it is limited by the unharmonious relationship between the Hokage building and the Uchiha clan, Uchiha's ninjas. It's a bit difficult to get an S-rank quest. But Namikaze Minato showed his ability as a Hokage, and Uchiha Shingen felt that he could look forward to it. As he told Shisui, he believed in Hokage-sama very much. If he doesn't receive it, he may be traumatized because of this, and he will lose trust in people since then. Lord Hokage is the patron saint of the village, and he will definitely not let his companions suffer such serious psychological trauma. After returning to the clan, before he had time to go back and save money, Uchiha Shingen was stopped by the Uchiha Iron Fire, who heard the sound. "Brother Shinchuan, you are finally back," the guy shouted. "The patriarch is looking for you and wants you to go immediately." Uchiha Shinchuan didn't even want to slip away. The voice was so loud that everyone knew that he had returned from the Hokage building. I know. No choice, Uchiha Shingen could only follow this overly excited guy to Uchiha Fuyue's house first. The Uchiha Fuyue family is the only luxury house in the Uchiha clan. Walking into this house, although it was not the first time for Uchiha Shingen to come here, he still felt inhuman. This is not enviable, not because Uchiha Fuyue became the patriarch, but because his family is good at business, and he was a famous local tyrant family in the family before he became the patriarch. Because it was not bad at all, after becoming the patriarch, Uchiha Fuyue took all the dividends the family gave him to subsidize the clansmen who were short of cultivation resources. Uchiha Shingen can get this subsidy every month. Therefore, although Uchiha Fuyue is a facial paralysis, Uchiha Shingen has always thought that this patriarch is handsome. When he saw Uchiha Fuyake, the patriarch was writing with a brush. Seeing Uchiha Shingen, he asked a question first. Shinchuan, if you compete with Jishui, how many chances do you think you will win? Chapter 16 Public Test. Stopping the water. Uchiha Shingen didn't quite understand the question of the patriarch. Why do I have to fight with my own people? Shinchuan, you've always been very cautious. Uchiha Fuyue raised his paralyzed expression by a level to show that he was not satisfied with this answer. Even if you return home, don't you want to tell the truth? At home? Is this to give him the house? Can it be discounted? But looking at Uchiha Fuyue's expression, it doesn't seem suitable for ridicule at this time. Patriarch, two Uchihas fight, there is no such thing as winning or losing. The kaleidoscope pupil technique is a bit foul, and he doesn't know if he can handle it or not. In case Shisui can't afford to lose, give him another shot and make him think that he has reached the third week, and he is still in the book world. Then don't be a human, just open the third week. But without the kaleidoscope. Isn't that a waste of time? The whole ninja world is making him waste time when they are robbing orders. Winning or losing is not the goal, everyone is there to see your differences. Uchiha Fuyue put down the brush and wiped his hands. Uchiha Shingen glanced at it and felt that this word, it needs to be strengthened. Come and sit down. Uchiha Fuyue opened the side door to reveal the tea room inside. The tea had been brewed, and a woman was cleaning up at the coffee table when the door opened and she got up. It's hard work, Mikoto. The facial paralysis became slightly less paralyzed. It's okay, I'm just idle, you can talk, I'll go out. Uchiha Mikoto looked very happy, she should be going to a party with her best friends. Well. Uchiha Fuyue nodded, and then asked, where's Itachi? He should be practicing at this time. Shueiji took him to play. Oh. This dad is really unprincipled. He didn't do his homework and ran out to play, didn't he break his leg? Uchiha Shingen thought slightly maliciously. It's not that he has any opinion on Uchiha Itachi, but he simply thinks that this guy can do that thing after 8 years because he played less when he was a child. Uchiha, once I get arrogant, I feel that everyone is drunk and I wake up alone. This is a disease that needs to be cured. Sit down. Uchiha Fuyue greeted, and then he sat down and drank tea. Uchiha Shingen sat down and tried a bite. That's right, it's this flavor, the tea that Namikaze Minato just brewed. How is your Yongdun training? Uchiha Fuyue asked suddenly. Pretty good. Bingdun can't be compared to Sharingan. If you follow the family tradition, maybe now you have the same eyes as Jishuei. That's embarrassing too. Uchiha Shinchuan added a cup of tea, feeling that he didn't need to eat lunch. If you use it too much, you will be blind. It's good to put on new eyes. Uchiha Fuyue didn't care. Sharing eye is the foundation of our clan, and there is a reason for the clan people to leave the riding wheel after sacrifice. I only like my eyes. Uchiha Shingen felt crooked. Didn't you just talk about Yongdun? It doesn't matter. Whether your choice is correct or not should have a result. You have 4 more years than Jishuei. Everyone thinks this is fair. Okay, I'll listen to the arrangement anyway. Well, but if you lose, the family can no longer support you in cultivating Yongdun. The monthly subsidy is the same as everyone else's. I have to tell you this first. Oh. Uchiha Shinchuan has no problem with this. After all, there are so many people in the family. If he has more than one share, others may lose one. It used to be okay to say, but now it is Shangnin, and it is reasonable to cancel the extra share. In this regard, Uchiha has done a good job. If it doesn't work out, he will give more subsidies to see who is strong and give less to those who are weak. Generally speaking, the high-level people in power in this family are not bad in quality, and they are still relatively public. Their non-human side has been shown to the Hokage building. After chatting a few words casually, seeing that Uchiha Fuyue really had nothing else to tell him, Uchiha Shingen said goodbye and went home. When I got home, I met my parents, and I went back to my room to collect the task money I received. After that, I basically spent the whole day helping with housework. A few days later, Uchiha Shingen did not receive a new task. It should be the clan that arranged the time for the competition between him and Jishuei, because he was informed that the competition would be held publicly. In this way, it is fair to judge whether to continue to support his Yongdun cultivation. It's a bit of a loss of face when he loses. After all, he is bigger than Jishuei. To say that Uchihas don't care about age and only care about strength is nonsense. This is just a means of image building, which makes outsiders feel that Uchiha is a wolf-like culture and has strong business ability. After all, the old ninja clan knows everything. After waiting for about 7 or 8 days, Uchiha Shingen had no pressure on this at all. It was time to eat, and it was time to practice and practice. Then, on the way back, he saw Uchiha Shisui. With a dusty appearance, it looks like he has just returned. Brother Shinchuan. Uchiha Jishui's eyes were bright. They told me when I came back. Yeah, they told me as soon as I came back. Uchiha Shingen was very emotional. I didn't save the money, and I was pulled over and approved. Brother Shinchuan, you always put money where your mouth is. Be pragmatic. Brother Shinchuan, please give me more advice tomorrow. I have long wanted to learn your skills. I see. Seeing the boy's appearance, Uchiha Shingen patted him on the shoulder. My brother, don't be polite. Okay. I must be rude to you. It's like scolding someone. Forget it, you can just be happy. After sending away the enthusiastic kaleidoscope boy, Uchiha Shingen continued to go home. I have a bunch of relatives who want to be Hokage. Chapter 10. On the surface, Uchiha Shisui, who is friendly to people, has nothing less Uchiha should have. When he encounters an opponent or enemy who is in his taste, it will be like a chicken blood. However, the younger brother still has vision, and he did not feel that he was winning because he chose an unconventional path. Tomorrow, be polite, you must be guarded, and you must be polite. After returning home, he eats well, chats with his parents well, and goes to bed on time. Then in the early morning of the next day, according to the notice of the clan, go to the training ground. In order to facilitate the competition among the tribes, the training ground has an indoor arena. The design structure is similar to the basketball court on the Blue Star. The audience can watch it on the second floor, so as not to affect the ability of the participants to play. In this way, even if the house is knocked over, it will be fine. There is a window behind the audience, and the ninja jumping through the window is a big deal, and the safety is max. When Uchiha Shingen came to the venue, there were already a lot of clansmen gathered here. Chapter 17 The new generation is the strongest. In the impression of outsiders, the Uchiha family, like the Hinata family, pays great attention to their own image. But Uchiha didn't actually do Hyuga's share, and returned to his own territory, which was more casual. According to the clan's notice, this time the open competition, all the clan members with Shirinyan asked to watch it, and everyone was very interested. Except for those who really can't get away from doing long-term tasks outside, most of the ninjas with Shirinyan have come back. Because everyone was running hard during this time, they suddenly gathered together in the clan, and it also triggered a second appreciation of the daily life of the clan. On the day of the competition, it was not even before dawn. It was already very lively. When Uchiha Shingen arrived at the venue, he could still see some clansmen selling steamed buns at the door. He felt hungry, so he went to buy one, took it while nibbling and walked in. When he entered the hall, he saw that the color skin group of 4 was waiting for him. "Ha! Didn't you eat in the morning, Shingen?" Uchiha Yawei handed over a carton of milk. "It's too dry to eat like this, here's for you." "Brother Shinchuan, can you win?" Uchiha Chiehua looked a little excited. "I opened a game, and you have 10%, so I can win. 5 points, or I'll lie at your door." Uchiha Shingen rejected him unceremoniously, even though he knew that this guy was actually trying to comfort himself. Uchiha Shisui of the original time and space is what the age is. Uchiha Shingen doesn't know, but in this time and space, Uchiha Shisui is recognized as the strongest in the new generation in the clan. At this time, Uchiha Shingen felt a familiar sight and looked back. Behind him, Uchiha Shisui, also wearing a battle suit, was accompanying an elder. Uchiha Instant, the heavyweight veteran of the Uchiha family. "Shinchuan, it's already here." Uchiha looked at the young man in front of him for a moment. Uchiha Shisui is certainly a dazzling new star in the new generation, but Uchiha Shingen is also a celebrity. His strength has skyrocketed in recent years, which has triggered discussions among the clansmen about this route. Today's test is to stop this pointless discussion. In the end, which is better, you can know by trying it out. You are all indispensable strengths of the Uchiha clan, learn from each other, don't go to the top. Although above, how about watching you embroider? Prepare the two of you, and start when Uchiha Fayake arrives. Better do it now, it's boring here. After speaking indifferently, Uchiha went upstairs in an instant, and his posture perfectly explained what it means to be old and strong. Several Hunin who came with him greeted the two of them and went upstairs. The clansmen who were still gathered on the first floor also went upstairs to take their seats. After a while, Uchiha Fuyue arrived, bringing his son, the great dutiful son of the original time and space. The 5-year-old Uchiha Itachi still has a baby face and looks like a little thinker, but the thinker mode broke in seconds when he saw Uchiha Shisui, and he waved happily. Uchiha Fuyue didn't say much, and took his cub upstairs. The audience was already seated. Uchiha Shingen and Uchiha Shisui glanced at each other, jumped onto the ring, and stood on their sides. Exactly the same dress, even the weapons are the same, all small swords. In the auditorium, the voices of the clansmen gradually sparsed, and finally the field fell into silence. "Let's start." Uchiha's instant voice sounded. The figures of the two disappeared at the same moment, and there was a sound of clang in the air, but no one was seen. In the auditorium, one by one, the clansmen opened their own riding wheel eyes. Uchiha held his chin with one hand, and watched with interest with a pair of 3-goose jade riding wheel eyes. "What can you do?" the old man muttered. At this moment, dozens of pairs of scarlet eyes were watching the field. Almost all the figures of the two have double shadows, and the instant body technique has reached this point, which can already be called superb. It is natural for Sknight body to stop water, to have such an attainment of instant body technique, but another person did not get a name on the battlefield because of this. The next moment, everyone saw that the two people in the field also opened the scarlet shadowy eyes. As if the ink dripped into the water and melted, the afterimages of the two covered the ring. The satisfaction in Uchiha's eyes gradually thickened, and Uchiha Fugaku was silent. After another collision, Uchiha Shingen and Uchiha Shisui bounced to both sides with the help of the shock force. In the middle of the journey, several shuriken flew out from the water stop sleeves, and the first 8 handprints were completed in a second, maintaining the posture of a in seal. The shuriken was born 2, 2, and 3 in the air. In the blink of an eye, it was already densely packed, and it continued to shroud Uchiha Shingen. The 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi Hidden created this technique based on the Shadow Clone technique, which is a very practical battlefield ninjutsu. But Uchiha Shingen just raised his hand with a knife, the wind swept the arena, and all the shuriken in the sky were thrown back, counterattacking at Uchiha Shisui. Uchiha Jisui's complexion remained unchanged, his hands were sealed again, and the shuriken shadow clones in mid-air exploded in mid-air, and the smoke formed instantly enveloped the ring. The next moment, the huge fireball that was enough to occupy half of the ring broke through the smoke, revealing the figure of Uchiha Shingen. Facing the light of the flame, everyone saw that Uchiha Shingen only made a seal. The temperature of the hot air in the field plummeted. The white waves rolled like silver flowers in full bloom. The turbulent water vapor made the people in the audience feel cool. White replaces red. The wave-like water barrier blocked the flames in front of them, and continued to expand their power, forming a violently rotating water vortex, completely protecting the caster in a 360-degree way without dead ends. The water escape technique of the Thousand Hands Tobarama. Uchiha raised his eyebrows instantly. It's one thing to hear before, and another thing to see now. If it wasn't for Senju Tobarama's art, he would stand upside down and turn in circles. According to Shingen, he has practiced. Uchiha Fuyue answered on the side. Then he should learn Mudun, that is more powerful. Uchiha snorted and continued to watch. In the field, Uchiha Shishui's flamboyant fireball has completely disappeared, and the layers of white waves have gradually dispersed, and Uchiha Shingen's figure is showing up. In the auditorium, the clansmen were talking a lot. In such a dry environment, it was easy to display such a scale of water escape, which made the clansmen once again raise their evaluation of Uchiha Shingen in their hearts. Although we all know that he is a water escape, but when his opponent is Uchiha Shisui, he realizes that the water escape of his family is not an ordinary bull. The superb instant body technique, as well as this exaggerated water escape. The Uchihas at the scene didn't care that the boss was still around, and they started talking. This match is worth seeing. Chapter 18 still playing like this. Looking at the stream of water that was gradually dispersing in front of him, Uchiha Shisui finally understood why those seniors in history had one count as one, and they all hated water escape. On the Mist Ninja battlefield, Uchihas generally have a feeling, the water escape is actually just like that. Especially Uchiha Jisui Wuxing Dun practice a fire escape, because of concentration, fire escape is also very good, the volume is high and the temperature is high, and it is also common to turn around and evaporate the water escape of the Mist Ninja. Although the Hao Fireball just now didn't do his best, Uchiha Shisui was still not convinced by Uchiha Shingen's easy solution. He decided to vaporize the clan brothers' water escape to prove to everyone that he did not only have instant body and illusion. In Uchiha, strength is the only path to achieve ideals. Uchiha Shisui suddenly felt that something was wrong. Water escape, water formation wall, after completing its defense mission, the water barrier will immediately disintegrate. But in the front, although the layers of water barriers are being peeled off layer by layer, the water barriers themselves are still in a condensed state. Switched. Just thinking about it, Uchiha Shingen's figure finally emerged from the water barrier that was gradually peeling away. Handprints have been replaced. The water layer that was already exhausted, like withered petals, stopped for a moment, as if time had stopped. In the next second, the water flow quickly reversed, the water volume surged, layer upon layer, and 10 dragon heads appeared. The dragon heads are realistic in shape, looming in the waves, they unfold their bodies, and swim like real living creatures. It is said that the tailed beast has a very lazy way of fighting, that is, it stretches its tail and turns in a circle, raising everything within its range to the ground. In Uchiha Shingen's view, it would be very boring to just copy the techniques of the predecessors. Water escape, 10 flood dragons rush. He said the name of the spell. Like a giant beast with its tail open, 10 flood dragons drove the waves under it, revolving around Uchiha Shinchuan in a counterclockwise direction, spinning at high speed, setting off a strong wind and waves. Everything in the arena, including Uchiha Shisui, turned into a part of this raging wave without any resistance. The rapid high-pressure water wave instantly pushed the martial arts hall out of the sound as if it was on the verge of collapse. Although he felt that the restaurant could still hold up, the big guy opened the windows involuntarily and was ready to jump off the building. However, whether it was the big water vortex covering the arena or the large water vapor that was continuously spewing upwards in front of them, they all felt that they were eye-opening. Shui Dun can still play like this. Everyone knows that whether it is Uchiha Shisui or Uchiha Shingen, they are really just competing, not fighting for life and death, they are all crazy. The water vortex in front of you, at first glance, is of great use on the battlefield. When Uchiha Shingen used the water escape to kill, he never left a whole body. And Uchiha is best at illusion, killing people without blood. The Shang ninjas kept their eyes fixed and saw clearly. The objects that were rolled up and approached Uchiha Shingen would be shredded just a little closer. These waves of water are both the shield and the spear of the caster, with offense and defense in one, and when the caster also has the insight to write a wheel eye, then there is no other way to break apart than forcibly break through with more powerful force. The only thing that confuses the Sharingan is that Sharingan is not a white eye, its blind spot is the same as that of ordinary people, but Uchiha Shingen doesn't seem to reflect this clutter that could threaten his location. Even if something is approaching from behind. Is the water wall used as a mirror? But the water around Uchiha Shingen keeps flowing at a high speed all the time, and it seems inappropriate to use it as a mirror. The upper ninjas were puzzled. Uchiha Setsuna and Uchiha Fuyue are also guessing. They vaguely felt that perhaps the most unlikely answer was the truth. I remember when I was a child, there was a saying in the ninja world about the Hinata clan. Uchiha looked at Uchiha Fushun suddenly, once like us, not most clansmen can open their eyes and use ninjutsu to fight. Is there ever such a statement? Uchiha Fuyue responded calmly. When Uchiha Setsuna was young, it was still at the end of the Warring States period. In that era when ninjas were completely equal, each ninja had a lot of unofficial histories that were not true or false.